Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Dan Patrick.
I've been poring over evidence all weekend, trying to solve the mystery of who egged Todd Fritz.
It wasn't just one egg. Someone threw like some kind of egg drive-by.
Let's begin with the most obvious suspect, Phillip Rivers.
You hate Phillip Rivers, don't you?
Not a fan.
Yeah.
He has at least 9 lookouts.
Daddy.
Definitely could be him. Joe Buck. Who knows what Todd's been texting his wife.
Finally took matters into my own hands and egged his house.
Let's not forget about Bill Murray.
Oh, you're not allowed to call Bill Murray.
He also hates Todd. And lastly, wild thought here, Toto or Kohler. Some other toilet manufacturer that's been treated very poorly by Fritzy.
We are listening to you, and it sounds like a scene out of Revenant where he's wrestling the bear.
We'll get to the bottom of this mystery from the Mercedes Man Cave on this edition of the Dan Patrick Show.
Welcome to the program, already in progress. Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. Skewing negative. Not sure how morale is, but come on in. Stay a while. Hope you had a great weekend, everybody.
Stepped over the line a little bit there, I think.
Yeah.
Scene out of the Revenant.
It's deep.
Deep and not playable.
We're dying over here.
Our guy, Bob Schmidt, who does our opens. Wow. He just picks off old clips there and inserts them and makes it all work there. We got to get an update on the egging case there. Todd's house got egged the other night, and maybe you could give us an update a little bit later on there, okay? Any arrest in the caper?
No arrests at this time.
Okay.
Cameras are being looked at from various homes with those little doorbell ring camera things.
Okay. All right. So we'll get an update there. Todd's house got egged. A lot of culprits. A lot of people who would want to egg your house. Just people who join us on the show. All right. Best and worst of the weekend, as we always do every Monday. What you liked and you didn't like, you can dial us up. You can email and you can tweet. We say good morning to our great radio affiliates, numbering 362 cities around the country. And also, you can watch on youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show. Players complaining about getting out of a bad situation isn't new. Either they want to get paid more, they want to go to a better situation, they want to go to a better coach, maybe all the above. But the former Jets safety, Jamal Adams, you could probably mark him down for all three of those because he's been ripping the head coach, Adam Gase, and the team all season, off-season. And then he got what he wanted because the Jets shipped him to Seattle for 2 first-round picks. Now, we'll talk about the deal coming up in a moment. And it's never pretty, but criticizing your own team can be an effective way to maybe get out of that situation. In most other lines of work, you probably can't get away with that. But keep in mind, you choose your company. You don't get drafted. And Adams is a tremendous player, and there was great hope for him in New York, but he's not leading them to the promised land anytime soon. They're on a rebuild again. They got to fix years, decades of mismanagement. As for the Seahawks, Adams makes that defense potent once again. They're all in on that defense and that team this year. And if you're not a fan of either team, it's a win as well because now we don't have to read about Jamal Adams ripping the Jets every couple of weeks. He wanted to go to his beloved Dallas Cowboys, but that didn't happen. And I started to look at the deal because I thought, wow, are the Jets going to get 2 first-round picks for Jamal Adams, who plays safety, which is not a valued position? The Bears kicked off the trend by trading 2 first-rounders for Khalil Mack. Bill O'Brien and the Texans, 2 first-round picks for left tackle Laramie Tunsil and wide receiver Kenny Stills. The Rams sent 2 first-round picks to the Jags for cornerback Jalen Ramsey. So that appeared to be the going rate, except for left tackle, very important. Edge rusher, very important. Cornerback, very important. Jamal Adams as a safety, not as important. Seattle doing it, I understand why they're doing it. And you start to look at this and you go, okay, what are these picks going to be? So Seattle's going to give up 2 first-round picks that'll probably be somewhere between 20 and 25, maybe 20 and 30. the Jets get the 2 first-round picks, and they get Bradley McDougal, and he is a safety. So they get a safety, and he's obviously a lesser version. He's 30 years of age, and he's about the same size, but not same player. So you get him, and then you start to wonder about the Jets. Hey, you got 2 first-round picks. Well, it's one thing to have first-round picks. It's another thing to do something positive with those first-round picks. How about Kyle Wilson, Muhammad Wilkerson, Quentin Coppolas, D. Milner, Sheldon Richardson, Calvin Pryor, Leonard Williams, Darren Lee, Jamal Adams, Sam Darnold. Out of all of those first-round picks since from 2010 to 2018, Sam Darnold's the only one still there. You can have first-round picks. We used to talk about Cleveland Browns all the time. Man, they got some first-round picks. I said, well, who's making the picks? Because that's really, really important here. And you saw what the Cleveland Browns would do with those draft picks. Same thing with the Jets. And, you know, you start at the top, and you got to mess at the top with the Jets anyway. And what's going on with Woody Johnson, and when he comes back, is the commissioner going to let him take over this job after he comes back from being a goodwill ambassador for President Trump? Probably not. And his brother is in there, Chris Johnson. But it starts at the top when you think about great teams and ownership there. And, you know, I started to think about if Woody Johnson, who was longtime owner of the Jets, so he's the U.S. ambassador to the United Kingdom. In 2018, ahead of an event for Black History Month, commonly marked at U.S. embassies around the world, Woody Johnson appeared agitated and asked if the audience would be, quote, a whole bunch of black people, according to one source. 3 sources said Johnson questioned why the black community would want a separate month to celebrate black history and argued that black fathers didn't remain with their families, and that was the real challenge. So Woody Johnson leaves to be the ambassador in the Trump administration. His brother Chris takes over, and maybe Chris can right the ship here, but if Woody comes back, I can't imagine this commissioner going, hey, come on back. Welcome. Been waiting for you. The bigger issue is this for me. Okay, you don't have good ownership, stable ownership in flux. You still pick Adam Gase to be your head coach. That's a big problem here because you could have had Matt Rule, and I think Matt Rule is going to be a star coach in this league. Carolina ended up taking Matt Rule, but for the Jets to trade Jamal Adams, you're also sending a message to a league that is 70% African-American. Who is running this team? You got this coach here, free agents. Are you going to want to go there? Like the Jets are trying to rival the Knicks here. And they're doing a pretty good job. And that's a bad thing. But you got a lot of similarities here. By the way, the Knicks are going to hire, it looks like Tom Thibodeau, whose nickname is Tibbs. But looks like they're going, great winning percentage. It's just uninspiring is what it is. Just uninspiring. Maybe it's safe. But I remember when, you know, David Fizdale was going to be hey, this is the guy. Players want to play for David Fizdale. Well, they may want to, but they didn't. Those who got drafted and those who were free agents. I mean, Kevin Durant said, I never considered the Knicks. I don't want to go there. Kyrie Irving didn't want to go there. And so they're going to hire Tom Thibodeau. Only Greg Popovich and Eric Spoelstra, among active coaches, have a higher winning percentage there. But back to the Jets, they have Sam Darnold and little else there. I mean, they got Le'Veon Bell, but who cares about Le'Veon Bell? And why would you want to go play for the Jets? And the Jets have finished last, and next to last. And they're headed towards last place again this year. Yeah, McLovin.
But they, you know, can you give the fact that they have a new GM a chance? Like Joe Douglas, former Eagle, Dan Patrick Show fan, you know, really highly regarded. His first time he ever got to draft was this year. So maybe he could be different. Is that, or is the ownership going to?
Well, no, as long as he's able to make these picks and you're confident that he's making the picks. Look at what happens in some of these organizations. Daniel Snyder said, hey, we're taking Dwayne Haskins. So the owner is saying we're taking Dwayne Haskins. Jimmy Haslam in Cleveland says we're taking Johnny Manziel. If you let a football guy be a football guy, then you have a chance to be successful. Yeah. If James Dolan gets involved in this, then it's going to be a mess for Tom Thibodeau. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who they put in there. It doesn't go well. And probably won't go well in this situation either. Because who is going to want to play for the Jets? Who's going to want to play for the Knicks? Like, we talk about New York sports all the time. New York sports might be the most overrated city when it comes to sports here. You got the Jets are terrible. The Giants are mediocre at best. You got the Mets, a mess. The Yankees do have a great team. And they get a lot of coverage there. But you got Mets ownership in flux, state of flux there. You got the Giants who are, meddling, middle of the road. And then you got the Jets as well. And then throw in the Knicks. Like, I'll give you the Nets as well, but, maybe they're going to be promising down the road. Yes, McLovin.
Can we do that as a poll? The most dysfunctional New York team? What's funny? The Mets still jumps to the top of mind. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, I know. Well, let's see who buys the team. I don't know.
If A-Rod joins the party.
Oh, my God.
Then it's.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'm rooting for that. By the way, this program brought to you by Raycon wireless earbuds, the way to go. Get 15% off your Raycon order. Buyraycon.com/Dan Patrick. It's buyraycon.com/Patrick. First round picks over the last 8 years. The Seattle Seahawks. 27, 29, 27. Traded the pick. 31. Traded. All right. You're getting 2 late first round picks because this Seattle team will be. Now, I understand this. If I'm Seattle, I'm taking Jamal Adams for a couple of reasons. Great against the run. I'm getting Jamal Adams for one big reason. To stop the 49ers offense. Kittle and the running game. That's why I'm bringing in Jamal Adams. Because if you don't get past the Niners, you're not getting to the Super Bowl. You got to get past them in your own division. But I'm bringing in Jamal Adams, and I'm saying to Jamal Adams, and I know you have to pay him probably $17 or $18 million a year, and Seattle can afford that. They can. They got Russell Wilson already on the books. Bobby Wagner, I think, is on the books here. So maybe that's your big ticket item. Your other big ticket item is going to be Jamal Adams. Okay. But, Seattle rolled the dice on this, and they gave up 2 first-round picks. But I think you have to look at the first-round picks. They're going to be late in the first round. Yes, McLovin.
But what about the cap going down and then trying to sign him and keep everybody? Isn't that like everyone's saying the cap's going to go down? I don't know what you're hearing about that.
Yeah, it probably will, but
that's why you need first-round picks because they're cheap.
Well, Seattle's trying to win now, and that does first-round picks aren't going to ensure that you're going to be great. You're getting some of these guys, or you're just bad at drafting, or it'll take a little while for these guys to get seasoned. Seattle's ready to win now. And Seattle is a very good team. And now you put Adams there at the back end of that. So I got Russell Wilson as my quarterback on offense, Jamal Adams as my quarterback with Bobby Wagner on defense. Okay. But this is about playing the 49ers, in my opinion. And I understand why both teams had to make the trade. I've never had confidence in what the Jets do with their draft picks. And maybe with the new GM, maybe that'll be a big difference here because they're going to have first-round picks.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, I know.
I thought it was a good one to start out the week.
Yeah. Do we have a poll question, McLovin?
Well, I was going to say who won the Jets-Seahawks trade. Jets-Seahawks or win-win sounds like a strong option because you just kind of convinced me both teams did what they had to.
You can't pick win-win. I would go with the Seahawks because the NFL is about now. I know we love to build for the future, but the Jets have been building for the future for quite some time. The Dolphins have been building for Bears have been building for the future. Teams build for the future, and they never build for today. Now, win now. And Seattle went all in on him. As long as Jamal Adams shows up and wants to be a leader, then great. But, all of a sudden he starts to pout a little bit for some reason, or he's not going to get as much money as he thinks, then it could go south. But I like the move for Seattle because you got an elite guy. Granted, it's not an elite position, but he is an impact player. And you got him because you must stop George Kittle and the running game with the Niners. That will be his mission, should he choose to accept it. Yes, Paulie.
If you go back and look at the draft history of the Jets, these players, they go fast. They don't bring back anybody. Even the decent players, D. Milliner gone, Calvin Pryor gone, Leonard Williams gone, Darren Lee, just 2016, he's gone. Jamal Adams now gone. Sam Darnold in 2018. And then last year they got Quinnen Williams early in the draft, 3rd pick, and he has not off to a great start.
But that was McCagnon and John Idzik, who was known as the worst 2 GMs, right? We always made fun of those guys.
That was a TNT cop show. McCagnon and Idzik, wasn't it?
I mean, if you remember Mike McCagnon, I remember you had said some unkind. No, I'm not going to put it on you, but you had always said that you'd heard he was not the sharpest GM.
Really?
Mike McCagnon, yeah, his reputation was pretty bad with the Jets.
Maybe he had a couple of beers and said that. I don't know.
McCagnon and Lacey?
Yeah.
I like that.
McCagnon and Spacey. Yeah, I would say Seattle won it because I don't know what the Jets will do with these draft picks. And I know that you got a guy. Instead of we're going to get potential here in the draft, you got Jamal Adams. And that's pretty strong.
What about the team cancer aspect with Jamal Adams and the Jets? Like, you couldn't have him ripping the coaches every day, right?
Oh, no, you had to get rid of him. And he knew that because once he starts to criticize the owner, Woody Johnson, and then he criticizes the head coach, and it's just a matter of time that, okay, it's not if I get traded, it's where I get traded. He wanted to go to the Cowboys, but that wasn't going to happen, so he ends up with Seattle. So I think both sides did pretty well, did the best that they probably could with this, and giving up the 2 first-round picks, it sounds alarming, and then you start to look at it. It's not like the Bengals gave up 2 first-round picks. Then that would be different. This is Seattle, and Seattle's pencil them in for, 10 wins this year? They'll probably draft 24th this year. All right, 877-3DP-SHOW, email address dp@danpatrick.com. So that was the big headline. The Astros lose Justin Verlander for a stretch, maybe a little bit longer than that. Lou Williams out for the Clippers. More on that story coming up. We'll talk to Marc Stein, the great reporter, insider for the New York Times. He'll join us to talk about Lou Williams. I love wings, and I probably would love Magic City, but I don't know if I'd leave quarantine to go to Magic City for takeout with wings, but Lou loves his wings from Magic City, which is a strip club. NBA begins in 3 days, by the way. John Smoltz will join us a little bit later on. But we'll talk to Marc Stein coming up about the bubble. Your phone calls are always welcome. We'll see if Ethan just sent me something. Let's see. In the entire last decade, New York's 9 pro sports teams, Mets, Yankees, Knicks, Nets, Giants, Jets, Devils, Islanders, Rangers, have won 1 championship. That would be the Giants in 2011.
Stat of the day, stat of the day, stat of the day, stat of the day. Here comes that
what?
Stat of the day.
All morning long, I'd created this sound effect for whenever I mentioned Ethan's name. So I said to the big German, hey, big TV production here. Whenever I say Ethan's name, then you'll play the sound effect. But he missed his cue because we were rehearsing this an hour ago.
We've never done rehearsals before.
I had to do one with the big German.
That was your first mistake.
Yeah, I know. I got Tyler and Dylan and the big German back there. And I said, okay, so when I say Ethan, our stat guy, then you hit the sounder. All right, we're working on it here.
Well, we had referenced Bob Schmidt, who does our opens.
Yes.
Earlier this segment, he also had sent in.
Glorious.
I like it. Oh, wait. There's more players and coaches from the Miami Marlins who have tested positive for COVID-19. I'll have that good news for you coming up here. We'll check in with Marc Stein in the bubble. How serious is his situation with Lou Williams? Imagine if this was a member of the Lakers and not the Clippers. This would be leading sports shows today. We'll talk to Marc Stein about that. Coming up 20 after the hour, this is the Dan Patrick Show. Full Sail University, the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. You get your bachelor's degree in sportscasting. Not broadcasting, not communications. It's sportscasting. We want to teach you how to be a sportscaster. And it's not just being on the air. It's also behind the scenes. It's behind the camera, podcasting, radio, everything in between. And there's so many things about Full Sail that I love. The approach to education, they combine hands-on learning. They have projects, immersive projects, and a faculty with real-world experience preparing you for what life is really like in the industry. And the students have done an unbelievable job during the pandemic because the faculty is teaching them you must adapt. You know, everybody is learning to adapt in the pandemic. And so it's real-world experience that we're teaching them. At Full Sail University, you can earn your bachelor's degree in about half the time, as short as 20 months. You can choose to earn your degree online or on Full Sail's campus in Orlando, Florida. Learn more about the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. Go to fullsail.edu/Dan Patrick. What's the coldest weather you ever played in?
Well, we played. I think the one year we played in Minnesota, and it was like 9 degrees or something. But it wasn't there. It wasn't windy, so if you can play in the cold, or it was probably between 9 and 15. But without the wind, if you get that wind chill factor, that's really a downer when it's a cold day and you got a windy day like they had at the Ice Bowl. It was minus 13 degrees with the wind chill factor. I think it was minus 40 that year.
Yeah. Was that 1975 when the Cowboys went up there in the playoffs? Was that the game you're talking about?
No, the Ice Bowl was. I was actually still. I was in the Navy. I was listening to the Ice Bowl. The Cowboys were playing Green Bay.
Oh no, I was talking about the coldest game you played in.
Oh yeah. Well, we played it. I think the 71 was a little colder. We played them in the playoffs, and then 75 we had the Hail Mary pass day was not. It was probably in the 20s that day, so that's not bad at all.
Can you clear that up? The Hail Mary. You get a lot of credit for coining that phrase or using that. Did you?
I tell you, Dan, I am really proud of that credit because the term was not used in 1975. The bomb, the alley-oop, and all the big plays. But we were playing the Vikings. It was we lost we were losing 14-10. We got the ball back at the end of the game, and we went down and Drew Pearson made this great catch. Now, the Viking fans say that Drew pushed off, but if you see the film, it looks like Nate Wright slipped. And so anyway, Drew caught it. We won the game, and after the game, an AP writer just said to me, "What were you thinking about when you threw the ball?" And I said, "I closed my eyes and said a Hail Mary." I was a Catholic kid from Cincinnati, and they said, the NFL's recognized that's the first time it was ever said. And I keep seeing, Aaron Rodgers, who's a fantastic football player. They have it now, the Hail Mary pass or something when they show some of his. He's had a lot of Hail Mary passes.
Yeah.
But they're not the Hail Mary pass. so it really started in '75, and as a Catholic kid from Cincinnati, I was kind of proud of that. I think the Blessed Virgin's going to have to let me in heaven.
Oh, I think you're going there, Roger.
Yeah.
I think you've done pretty well. Where's your Heisman?
It's on the hood of my car. No, just kidding. It's in our house. I got a little office in my wife when she built this house gave me an office. So I have a little office with the Heisman in there. Yeah.
So she said, I'm going to give you one room to put all your stuff in?
She built this house, and I moved in with her. This was about 10 years ago. So this is our, we got a bunch of kids and grandkids, and so we got a lot of room in this house. But my office is it's a nice little office, and she's been real nice to me. We've married 53 years now, so we're
good for you.
We
Good
still
for
like
you.
each other.
The Miami Marlins home opener against the Orioles tonight has been canceled. Big reason why. 8 more players, 2 coaches with the Marlins had tested positive for COVID-19. An outbreak has spread throughout their clubhouse and brought the total cases in recent days to at least 14. Sources familiar with the situation tell Jesse Rogers and Jeff Passan of ESPN. They played the Braves and they played the Phillies, and I don't know how that's going to impact those rosters as well. But 8 more players and 2 coaches with the Marlins. Their home opener tonight against the Orioles has been postponed. Go to rockauto.com. All the parts your car or truck will ever need. Rockauto.com is a family business founded by automotive engineers in 1999. 2 goals in mind. First, giving you direct access to all the parts information hidden in the computers and catalogs behind the parts store counter. And second, to make those parts affordable. They offer reliably low prices. At rockauto.com, you choose the part, brands, prices, features you want anytime 24/7. Rockauto.com even has a lot of the parts you've been told dealer only are no longer available. Parts delivered right to your home or office, so you're not wasting time and money hunting for the parts, phoning, driving, waiting in lines. Go to rockauto.com. Make sure you tell them we sent you. All the parts your car or truck will ever need at rockauto.com. McLevin, you have a poll question we're going to go with?
So I already put up who won the Seahawks-Jets Jamal Adams trade. Early leader, Seahawks 58%.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I know we love to say who won and who lost. I just don't know what the Jets are going to do with these draft picks. You look at that team, and they're not threatening at all. You got Sam Darnold. They're going to waste Sam Darnold's career in New York because they're not going to do anything for 5 years with Sam Darnold. Yeah, McLevin.
I was going to put out a poll, but I know that your answer to it. Best safety of the last 20 years. If Jamal Adams is the best now, if I put Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, and Earl Thomas, is there anybody who competes with Ed Reed for you guys?
I love Polamalu, but I just think Ed Reed's the best safety. I got to be careful. Modern day safety. Ronnie Lott was great, but it was different back then when you could play a different way at safety. But Earl Thomas was really talented as well. But Ed Reed, to me, could make you pay in a variety of ways. And some of these former players and coaches talk about the intelligence of Ed Reed, that he was so smart at that position. So I would say Ed Reed. Yeah.
I have to say Brian Dawkins, by the way, or my Philly fans will kill me. He was in the discussion.
Yeah. And Brian, it's a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, he made the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So Marc Stein set to join us on loan from the New York Times, and Fritzy is on the phone with him. 877-3DP-SHOW, email address dp@danpatrick.com. John Smoltz a little bit later on will give you our best and worst of the weekend. I watched a lot of basketball, and I watched a lot of baseball as well. I'm not going to criticize the cardboard cutouts or the virtual fans or the virtual noise or any of that. Even watching a glorified scrimmage in the NBA, it's still a little awkward, but I'm seeing something that is live, and I'm okay with that. Marc Stein is in the bubble. He's been covering the NBA since 1994, the New York Times reporter. Marc joins us now. Where are you right now, Marc?
I found a little bit of quiet. The 9 o'clock hour here is always busy because that's testing hour for the media, but I found some quiet not far from the testing rooms. They got like 4 hotel rooms set aside where we go in and test, and it's glamorous. It's glamorous.
We're 3 days away. How do you feel?
I think look, the basketball is fantastic. I mean, to be in a gym, I'm not going to lie to you, the squeak of sneakers, it is glorious. It's great to be there. We all have lamented what we don't have here, but one of the perks we do have is arena seats more accustomed to the way we used to back in the day when old guys like you and I were getting started. We're much closer to the court in one of the three gyms. We are on the floor. So the seats are amazing. You hear a lot more than you would at a normal game. And just, I think the teams, the players, guys are really happy to be playing again. And I've heard this comment from multiple coaches that even practices, I think guys just are so happy to be back in the gym that even the kind of grumbling you would get after 5 practice days in a row, you're not hearing that. Guys want to be in the gym. They want to play.
The Lou Williams situation here, I maintain if he had been a Laker, this would be leading the national news. But here he is with the Clippers. He goes to Atlanta, goes to a strip club to order takeout. But so what is the violation for Lou Williams?
Okay, so the violation is he had an excused absence, unlike the Rashawn Holmes story where Rashawn Holmes of the Sacramento Kings takes a few steps over a campus border to pick up delivery he's not allowed to pick up. This is Lou Williams was on an excused absence, but he goes to a public place. And obviously we're all going to make jokes about where he went and where he ended up, but any public place is, to me, an egregious violation. I mean, the bubble has started. You're on an excused absence to attend a family funeral. Does it really need to be explained that the only place you should go is that family funeral and get back on a plane and get back to this bubble as quickly as possible? I mean, I really don't think that needed to be spelled out. I mean, it was irresponsible. It was selfish, and thank God it was photographed, because he could have gotten back here and no one would have known where he was, and that would have been 10 times worse. But the reality is, the NBA has limitations in how it can sanction him, and so Rashawn Holmes and Lou Williams get the same 10-day back in quarantine, basically because that's what the league has collectively bargained with the union on these matters. Everybody's saying, why are the punishments the same? Well, that's why the NBA really didn't have much of an option.
Assess the Clippers situation from a basketball perspective, that we came into the bubble and they were as deep as any team in the NBA, and a lot of people like them to emerge from the Western Conference here, but how would you handicap them? I mean, Joakim Noah is their center. I mean,
well, here's the thing: they do have time. I mean, seedings matter nothing in terms of home court advantage. They matter as far as who you might play. So obviously, they don't want to fall too far down the ladder because you don't want to make your road unnecessarily tougher, having to play tougher teams. But they do have time. All these teams are playing 8 games before we even get to the playoffs. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't look great right now when you have no Harrell, no Lou Williams, Pat Beverly just got back, no Zubac. I mean, they're no Landry Shamet. I mean, they are missing a slew of rotation players, but they do have time on their side. And, I'm sure there's no question. I mean, Doc Rivers is I would say, uneasy about it, but it's way too soon for them to panic. I mean, the damage, we'll be able to assess the damage better when the standings are finished and we see how far they fall down the list and, kind of what that does to them in terms of first-round opponent. But, they still have that Kawhi Leonard guy and they still have Paul George. So, I think they're going to be okay.
How do you think history is going to view Kawhi Leonard? Let's say he wins a couple more titles here. And we, of course, start with our all-time list when we start with how many titles have you won. Kawhi's sort of that enigma that, not quite sure how to categorize him, as he's a great postseason player, but we've seen that he sort of is a really good regular season player.
It is a fascinating case because he just also doesn't do anything to sell himself. He doesn't give us an ounce to work with, especially during the regular season when, it's all about load management. But he's probably not going to get his just due, unfortunately. When we always talk about super teams. The San Antonio Spurs in 2013 and 2014, that was a super team. And he made them the super team when you add Kawhi Leonard to Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili. And we never look at the Spurs that way, but they easily could have won, and some would say should have won in 2013.
Yeah.
They absolutely disassembled the Heatles in 2014 and broke that team up. That was a super team, and Kawhi Leonard is what put it at that level. And we really don't even discuss it. And if the Clippers win it all, if the Clippers win it all, see, my contention is no matter who, if any of the top three teams win, if the Lakers win, people are going to say, LeBron, this doesn't count. This isn't real. If the Clippers win a real championship. This is the only way you could win was one of these. The Bucks, Giannis, you got to leave Milwaukee. This doesn't count. So we're going to hear that no matter who wins. But if the Clippers win it all, and Kawhi Leonard is the first guy to win titles with three teams, if he beats LeBron in that race, I mean, historically, that's huge.
I agree. I just don't know if history is going to treat him maybe fairly. But you're right. He doesn't go out of his way. But it's just not who he is. And Tim Duncan never tried to curry favor. He never tried to, be friendly with anybody. He just went out and won championships. We're talking to Marc Stein, the New York Times NBA writer. The Tom Thibodeau move by the Knicks, as much as I respect him, I do like him. It just seems so uninspiring. You got the same ownership here. How does this change the Knicks, in your opinion?
Well, from the minute Leon Rose took over, everyone in this league, especially in coaching circles, thought Tom Thibodeau was getting this job. And he did. They interviewed 10, 11 guys, and that's what teams do now. There is a value in that because you're getting a look at possible assistants. You're getting information from other organizations to put in your database. But no matter who they talk to, everybody thought Tibbs was getting this job. And look, Tibbs is a fantastic coach. The issue here is Leon Rose has come in, and basically every move made has been someone from his inner circle who's been there for the last 10 years. And that's why uninspiring is the word you chose. I mean, we could have probably predicted all of these moves from the minute Leon Rose took over. And this is the problem. Leon Rose was a decorated player agent. He's never run a team. He's never run an organization. And if you bring in, a coach you used to represent and Worldwide West, who was part of the same representation firm, and, if your whole scouting operation is just, people who have been part of your group, your clique for a long time, I mean, it is, no question, it's worrisome, but ultimately this is a talent thing, and the Knicks are so far adrift of where they should be talent-wise. They've got to shore up the roster for one, but also they've got to. Leon Rose has to build a good basketball operations department.
But who's going to want to play there, Mark? That's the key. These free agents aren't our age. They don't go, boy, I'd love to play for the Knicks in the Garden. Like that's
You're totally right.
Right?
They're totally right. They're going to have to draft and trade well first, and change the perception of that organization. But look, I still think the Knicks are still a marquee team, and Madison Square Garden is, even this generation, guys still want to play in that building. That does carry a little bit of weight. But yeah, with free agents, when you hear Kevin Durant say how uncool they are, I mean, that resonates. And that's what I'm saying. Leon Rose is going to have to be the one who leads the way to change that reputation. And because he has no experience in this arena, I mean, that's where the skepticism comes from.
Stay safe down there, and we look forward to reading your columns here in the New York Times. Mark, great to talk to you again. Thank you.
Sounds good, guys.
That's Marc Stein, New York Times reporter. Been covering the NBA since 1994. I think we started covering the NBA just about the same time when I was at the mothership back then. But I did get to cover the NBA when I was at CNN back in the 80s as well. You know, the Lou Williams situation, I had a former player who said, well, let's say he was at a really nice restaurant and not at a strip club. Would we view this differently? And my thought is, you're in the bubble, you have an excused absence. You shouldn't be going anywhere. And the former player said, well, but he knows he's going to be quarantined when he comes back in, so he's not putting anybody at risk. He said, the media is getting caught up in the fact that it's a strip club. I said, well, it's takeout at a strip club. Was it truly takeout at a strip club? Is it one of those where you spend like 15 minutes while you wait for your order at the strip club? And here is Lou Williams earlier this year talking about his favorite restaurant in the country.
Magic City is my favorite restaurant in the world.
I didn't know they even have food like that, but okay.
No, listen, so all entertainment is shut down in Atlanta. The restaurant is still open. You can still go to Magic and get your food.
It's essential. It's an essential.
It's a part of our culture here.
Yeah, so that's Lou Williams. This is his favorite restaurant in the world, not just the United States. So it's his favorite place in the world. Yeah, Paul.
So I saw that report. This confirms that the stage wasn't even open. He was just at the takeout window. Right? There was not. Everyone's like, well, he went to the strip club to get wings, air quotes.
Yeah.
He was really here for the entertainment.
So portion of the main stage was not happening there. Huh. Yeah, but he got wings and somebody took a picture. Okay, but if you're there for pickup, so somebody takes a picture of him. But I don't understand the whole setup there at Magic City.
I've tried to do takeout at a strip club before. It never works, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They never leave.
I'd have guys who would swear they'd go for lunch buffet. Guys at ESPN. Guys that weren't on the air, the assignment desk. My first day at ESPN, we went to the Blue Parrot Strip Club.
Yeah.
And I had just gotten there, and two guys on the assignment desk, they go, hey, you want to go get lunch? And I go, yeah. And they go, we're going to go to the Blue Parrot. And I go, okay, well, that seems like an interesting name. Like you don't think great food with a place like the Blue Parrot. I walk in, cinnamon to the main stage, and I'm going, wait. And they go, yeah, no, the lunch is really good. And I go, okay. So that was my first day at ESPN. Lunch at the Blue Parrot. Yeah, Paulie.
If you order your wings dry rubbed at a strip club,
Whoa,
there's a whole different connotation.
Alrighty, okay. I expected that from the back row.
I was waiting for Todd. This is on a tee for him.
No, don't try to top. No topping, unless you can.
I have nothing right now.
You have no mock headlines for Lou Williams going to a strip club for takeout with
Well,
wings.
it's family show. It
shocked.
can get very, very racy, though. How blue can you go with that? How blue
now,
parrot can
now
you go?
your parental guidance.
The sticky situation. I'll come up with a few things.
Yeah.
It's gonna get
We'll
messy.
take a break. Play of the day is up next here on the Dan Patrick Show.
So I think every day it's going to get a little weirder in 2020. You virtual fans, virtual noise. And for us purists who remember the old-time manager-umpire arguments, this is about as surreal as it gets. The Cardinals, Pirates.
Get him out.
Just got run.
Get him out of there.
First they ran a pitcher. Here comes the manager, Derek Shelton. Mask up.
Yeah, mask up. Hold
on. Before we quarrel, let me mask up. Uh-oh.
So spontaneous how they lose their mind.
Oh, he broke a string on his mask. That happens to me all the time.
You can't get toe-to-toe in these arguments. And I mean that. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there are big-time, consequences if in fact
That's
they
not
do
socially
so.
distanced, by the way.
Certainly
They're too
Shelton,
close.
As his home plate
They are
umpire,
too
Jordan
close.
Baker, who heard a lot from it from Dyson, and we could hear even up here upstairs in between innings. The back
Shelton's
and
mask
forth.
breaks.
I relate to having that little crumpled blue one in your pocket.
Yeah.
You pull it out, like, oh.
Like if I 6 months ago, I said, "Hey, guess what? The morning meeting is going to be two guys in masks arguing, and one's broken."
Well, you would think one guy would have a mask on. He's the umpire.
Yeah,
he has a mask, but it's a different.
Yeah,
style.
he's calling balls and strikes right over the catcher's head, and right in the batter's box without a mask on. That seems like a flaw in the system.
And on top of that, Derek Holland, who hasn't played a game for the Pirates yet, was in the stands. He threw Derek Holland out of the Pirates, who's yet to play a game.
Wait, that's who he threw out?
Yeah, Holland was in the bullpen or whatever they have.
He probably was in the stands, right?
Right,
Like, yeah.
basically.
Oh, my God.
Bizarre.
I'm like, actually, where are the cardboard cutouts?
Yeah, they went solid cutouts.
You don't even know if there's going to be cutouts or not. Oh.
They're still collecting them. They're a little week behind.
There it is.
Here's John Sterling with the Gary Sanchez.
Swung on and into the air to deep left. It is high. It is far. It is gone. In fact, it went over the bullpens into the bleachers and left. Wow, what a shot. The Sanchino. He drills a long 2-run home run. Oh, that Gary is scary. And the Yankees take a 2-0 lead.
That's me banging my head against the microphone there. Yes, Fritz.
Now, as someone who has trouble with rhymes, Gary and scary, can we give him a pass on that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
You guys beat me up on the rhymes.
Gary, scary. That's like
Gary, scary.
Falk and pork. Don't even try.
Gary, scary. Scary is how you say scary.
Scary Gary.
Gary, scary.
Falk. Pork.
I don't think Gary and scary are
What's
a
the bigger difference there?
Mine, but Gary and scary, I think we're winking at something there that's not really a rhyme.
Are you kidding me?
Gary,
like there's
who says scary?
There's tone deaf people who don't really hear music and know, like they hear themselves, they realize they don't realize they can't
hear themselves singing either.
When you go to an amusement park, do you call it right? Whoa, that was scary. That's not how you say it.
How do you say it?
Or is that a Brooklyn thing in me? Oh, that was scary. That was a scary ride. Halloween is scary. Can
you say in your normal voice, Gary and scary back to back?
Gary, scary. Gary to me is the short A. Scary is like an air sound.
Scary. It's not scary. It's scary. Gary.
It's Gary and scary. I don't think those are. I don't know. Just because they both have ARY, they're pronounced differently.
Am I missing something here? McLevin, am I missing something?
No.
Okay. All right.
Yes, you're missing one member of your staff is nuts.
Maybe some people are colorblind. Maybe I got some kind of auditory thing.
Fritzy, you tried
Look
to
at the industry you picked.
You tried to rhyme Marshall Falk and pork.
It depends how you say it.
And not only that, hold up. Not only that, but when you were doing that, you insisted that pork was pronounced pork.
Pork off.
Pork.
Yeah, it's not like a walk off. Caulk off, falk off, and then you went pork off.
Pork, the other white meat.
Pork.
Like, what is pork?
I don't know. At the time, it sounded like a perfect rhyme.
God, that's scary.
There we go.
Gary.
That Gary is scary. No. Let's not. You can't rhyme Gary.
You should have gotten
a
break about 2.5 minutes ago.
No, I'd like the audience to realize what I work with, so the next year I'm up for the Sports Emmy for studio host. Degree of difficulty, once again.
The play of the day.
Runner left side, got it! Ready to play it and play it.
This is the play of the day. Check this out.
Well, here is G-Man Choi batting right-handed and getting into this one, and that baby is out of here. G-Man Choi jumping on that first pitch, batting right-handed against the left-hander K, and he belched the home run.
The Tampa Rays first baseman taught himself how to hit right-handed while in quarantine. His second career at bat from the right side of the plate, and Manchoy homers. Rays win at 6-5 in extra innings, courtesy of Fox Sports Sun. Play of the day brought to you by My Wireless Earbuds. The way to go is buyraycon.com/Patrick. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/Patrick. We're trying to find out, the Marlins home opener against the Orioles tonight has been canceled because They had 8 more people, players and coaches, test positive for the virus. But I don't know, can they postpone it? At what point does it become a forfeit? Because you have, 60 games in a span of 67 days, I believe? And there's not much wiggle room here. But this game has been canceled. I'm guessing you can try to do a doubleheader, but if these players have tested positive, once again, 8 more players and 2 coaches with the Marlins have tested positive. So that brings, what's the total of players and coaches in the organization who have tested positive? Because it says 8 more players and 2 coaches. 14 total. Thank you, Seton. So they have an outbreak here, and they, wow. I don't know how you.
I have the team schedules here. They average about 4 days off, 3 or 4 days off a month. There wouldn't be a lot of time to make up games. Let's say the Marlins got shut down for a week. That would be 6 baseball games. You're not having 6 doubleheaders to make up. Those should be forfeits.
But
right?
it's not fair to the other team.
Right.
The Orioles are ready to play. The Marlins are not. I go back to what the commissioner told me when I had him on a couple of weeks ago. He said, I think the way that I think about it is the vein of competitive integrity in a 60-game season. If we have a team or 2 that's really decimated with a number of people who have had the virus and can't play for any significant period of time, it could have a real impact on the competition, and we would have to think very, very hard about what we're doing. Because I said, would you pause the season at any point? And that's what he's referring to. Would you pause the season? So this is 14. Now, we don't know if, with the Marlins and who they came in contact with Philadelphia and Atlanta. Keep in mind, the NBA shut down the entire organization when Rudy Gobert tested positive. So one person tested positive. They shut it down. And I know back then we weren't quite sure exactly what it was and how contagious it was and how widespread it was, certainly in the sports community. But here's 14 members of the Marlins organization who have tested positive. And they just canceled the game. Hasn't been forfeited yet. But then what's Baltimore do? So Baltimore's there in Miami, and then they're going to face a team that is going to quarantine their players. Can you bring up minor leaguers here? I mean, this isn't good news for football. I know that we keep saying football has time and can they learn from it, and maybe they can, but this is not a good situation. If I'm the commissioner of the NFL, if I'm Roger Goodell, boy, I want to know what is going on here. Protocol. And that's why I go back to Lou Williams. I mean, it's irresponsible. You can't be out doing this. Even if you're doing pickup, have somebody do it. You've been given permission to leave the bubble. You must be sociably conscious of what you're doing. Now, if I'm the commissioner, even though you can't do this, like we already have punishments in place, I would tell Lou Williams not to come back. You can't, but that's how serious that this is. How you have to take it. You must police yourself. You must be strident in being responsible here. There's hundreds of millions of dollars at stake here. You got people with their health. I mean, teams with their health, coaches, everybody's involved in this. And you can't be out doing takeout. You can't be doing those things and running that risk. But he's going to get the same punishment as some of these other players who went to get pickup, in the bubble. But I would tell Lou Williams, don't come back, even though you can. The Marlins and Orioles are scheduled to meet 4 times this year, all of them this week. Today, tomorrow at Miami. Today's already been postponed, then Wednesday and Thursday. How are they going to do this? Wow. Johnny Smoltz is going to join us a little bit later on. We'll talk about it. Welcome to the Monday edition here. Favorite baseball movie of all time that you said, all right, I can buy into that?
I mean, Field of Dreams is awesome. It's a great movie.
Okay.
You know?
But did you look at Bull Durham? Is Bull Durham accurate?
There's a lot of things there that I saw in the minor leagues, no doubt.
But you didn't see Susan Sarandon in the minor leagues.
But I think you had that type of a character in a lot of cities.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, where, the guy was in love with this older woman who was trying to get out of town and, yeah.
What's the strangest thing you saw in the minor leagues?
I don't know about strange, but one of my favorite stories is we were on a bus ride about 14 hours, all right? And Rick Adair, who went on to be a pitching coach for the Indians and all that, he's one of my dear friends. He's like supposed to pitch the day game the next day, and he's like, we won't be playing, boys. And he watered the field down. He set the hose down on the field, watered it down for like 4 hours. We got in at 3 or 4 in the morning, and he watered the field down, and they canceled the game.
Wait, so Crash Davis does it in the movie Bull Durham. He did it before Crash Davis?
That was probably 1980. So I don't know what time Crash did his
I think
deal. But that was legendary. Guys used to do stuff like that. Now, I did have a owner in AA ball in Lynn, Mass. in 1982 who every time we broke a bat, we had to bring it back to him to get a new one. So we basically only had 2 or 3 bats in your bat rack. You broke one, you had to take it to him, and you had to plead with him. You go, it's cracked right here. And he'd like, tape it up. It's okay. And like, this, you can't tape it. Tape it up, put a couple tacks in there, you'll be good. And we would play with a taped up bat for another 3 or 4 games.
Wait, is that legal?
No, it's not legal.
I'm going to guess it. If that bat shattered and you had like nails flying towards the pitcher's mouth.
It was all over the place, man. Cutting your hands. Yeah.
Do you look at the Hines-Ward rule? Do you look at that with pride? That's this crackback block that you're not allowed to do it, that you made it illegal? How do you feel about that?
What I feel about it, don't get mad at me or the guys that are doing it. Get mad at your coaches for telling you not to be aware of this guy, what he does. I mean, because it's still a part of football. You can't tap somebody on the shoulder and be like, hey, I'm about to hit you. Get ready. It's just a part of the game. But I don't think, I was there in Cincinnati when Juju hit Burfitt, and, I thought it was a clean hit. He led with his shoulder, and, I didn't agree with him standing over him, but I did it when I was young as well. So, when you're young, he's still a rookie in the league. Now, I said later on in my career, I hit Ed Reed, and I was calling for the trainers to come help him. Instead of standing over him, I was reaching for him. But it's still a part of the game. I mean, there's not one football player that's played on that field that has got cracked back on at some point. I mean, it happens every play on special teams. You see a long punt return. You see 3 or 4 guys get cracked back, but they don't call it. It's not illegal in that sense, but it's still a crackback because the punt returner is going the other way and the rest of the team is going the opposite way. So, I don't know. I take pride in it, I guess, but sometimes it's still the game of football. I understand they're trying to make it safer.
Did you ever get one of those blindside blocks where somebody popped you?
All the time, Dad.
Because they were waiting. They were waiting to hit you.
Being through an interception, I had 6 guys hunting me down. I avoided one, but the other guy called me. It was like playing Frogger. At the game of Frogger, I got called in the highway, Dad.
buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Dan Patrick.
I've been poring over evidence all weekend, trying to solve the mystery of who egged Todd Fritz.
It wasn't just one egg. Someone threw like some kind of egg by, drive-by.
Let's begin with the most obvious suspect, Phillip Rivers.
You hate Phillip Rivers, don't you?
Not a fan.
Yeah.
He has at least 9 lookouts.
Daddy.
Definitely could be him. Joe Buck. Who knows what Todd's been texting his wife.
Finally took matters into my own hands and egged his house.
Let's not forget about Bill Murray.
Oh, you're not allowed to call Bill Murray.
He also hates Todd. And lastly, wild thought here, Toto or Kohler. Some other toilet manufacturer that's been treated very poorly by Fritzy.
We are listening to you, and it sounds like a scene out of Revenant where he's wrestling the bear.
We'll get to the bottom of this mystery from the Mercedes Man Cave on this edition of the Dan Patrick Show.
Welcome to the program. Hope you had a great weekend, everybody. The Florida Marlins, Miami Marlins, certainly didn't. Their game against the Baltimore Orioles has been postponed. They're scheduled to meet 4 times this year, all of them this week. Today, tomorrow at Miami, and then Wednesday and Thursday in Baltimore. So if there's not a lot of wiggle room here, but the Marlins game has been canceled against the Baltimore Orioles. This was their home opener, as you have 14 players and part of the management coaches who have tested positive for COVID. And they're 2-1. Playoffs, question mark? And his Seton said they won 1 in a row. Can you win 1 in a row?
No.
You can't win 1 in a row.
No, there's no such thing as 1 in a row.
1 in a row. How many? It takes 2 to be in a row? You have to start with 2 to be in a row. Yes, Paul.
2 seems like a pair. A row seems like 3. Without knowing the official definition.
Okay. Yeah, see.
Yeah, I think that sounds 3 has a nice ring to it in terms of
So you got a
rowness.
pair of wins, and then you have 3 in a row. Yes, McLevin.
I think Major League Baseball should take that game on Sunday away from them and give it to the team they beat.
The Phillies?
How did the Phillies lose to a COVID outbreak, rebuilding Marlins 2 out of 3? And every game's worth 2.5 games, too.
Well, you're only 1 game out of first, McLevin.
That's true.
Here's something. You know, Ethan, who is our stats guy, the Harvard grad. Ethan sent me this. This is the first time since 1954 that no baseball team has started the season 3-0. How about that? Across the 4 major sports in North America, there's only been one other occasion in the last 35 years in which no team started 3-0. That was the NHL back in 2000. Thank you, Ethan. Thank you so very much.
Ethan. What does that sound?
Moaning?
That was me.
Oh.
Did you guys see me when I closed the door this morning?
No.
And I was doing the sound effects there because the French kid had the graphics of Ethan, and we had like angels. And I said, no, I think I need to record some. Oh, Ethan. Ethan.
Disturbing.
Oh, dear.
All right, welcome to the program. Best and worst of the weekend. What you saw that you liked, you didn't like. We'll get to your phone calls. We'll give you our best and worst of the weekend. Not a great weekend for Cy Young winners, former Cy Young winners. Ethan, once again, the great stats guy for us. Ethan. 8 former Cy Young winners started games over the weekend. They went combined for an ERA of over 5. Justin Verlander, it's just a strained muscle in his forearm. What's the official diagnosis there with Verlander, McLevin?
Yeah, it's just a strain. He says, don't rule me out for the season. He said on Twitter, but sounds bad.
Yes, it does. If I hear the word ulnar, it's bad. But Justin Verlander says, I'm not done for the season. Right now, it's just a strain. But if somebody says Justin Verlander and Olner, then I would go, say hello to Tommy John surgery. By the way, speaking of which, Shohei Ohtani, he did not look good at all. He threw 30 pitches, and half of them balls ultimately charged with 5 earned runs. He didn't get an out. He walked 3 batters of the Oakland A's, not promising there coming back. And you're going to have this. It's a 60-game sprint. And these players are, they do everything. Their life is about repetition when you're a Major League Baseball. Even, professional athlete. You do certain things at certain days, certain times, especially pitchers. And you're trying to get these, so we've had Clayton Kershaw, tweaking his back, Verlander situation. We got Shohei Ohtani here. The pitcher's trying to be able to come back. And, I was watching who pitched for the Cubs. They had a complete game. Who's your boy?
Oh, Kyle Hendricks?
Kyle Hendricks.
Yeah, start off the season.
Why do you want him to throw a complete game?
Maybe they think that way too, is like, don't mess with this. Let's get this win.
I don't want him pitching the whole game. Not at all. But he pitched a complete game, a 3-hitter. Yes, McLevin.
A lot of people say I look like Kyle Hendricks.
I could see that.
And
a little bit.
He went to the same college I did.
Oh.
Not Harvard, like
Ethan.
I sidetracked the whole show.
Yeah, you did.
That's Todd's job. Yeah, sorry about that.
It was a selfish moment by you to have you be inclusive.
No, I mean also to compare myself to someone who's much better looking than me as well. Don't forget that.
Hey, Todd. Todd, do we want to do Lou Williams mock headlines?
That's up to you. Are they all safe and sound?
No.
They're not.
No, we can't do this. No.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to shut it down.
Maybe the last one.
Oh, my God, no.
Just the last one, I think, is a question.
No, there's a couple in here. We can't do mock headlines. So the Clippers forward, Lou Williams. What is he, a guard forward? He's a scorer. Lou Williams is getting verbally spanked by the commissioner. They can't really do that much other than that I would have told him don't come back, but I can't because they're going to have him, he'll miss 2 games. He's got to be quarantined here because he went to a strip club for takeout here. Yes, Tom.
What if we didn't do the third one
no,
and the last one?
No, I'm not doing them. I am going to go. Watch me. I'm going, watch my finger. I'm going to go delete. And that's it.
All right.
Should have done it pre-show here, Ton. Feels a little rushed. And, of course, you went blue, and I can't do that. Okay. All right. Poll question, McLevin. What do you have for me?
Who won the Jamal Adams trade, which seems like a while ago now, the Seahawks or the Jets? It's up to almost 60% Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm going to go Seahawks because I'm all about what are you doing now. And Seahawks did something that improves their team now. The Jets, and look, maybe Joe Douglas is going to be a great GM for them. He certainly has the pedigree for being a great GM. But, man, it's a mess with what the Jets have done. And I don't trust him when it comes to draft picks. Hey, they got 2 first-round draft picks for Jamal Adams. What are you going to do with them? But having worked with the Ravens and how great the Ravens have been, I don't think anybody drafts better than the Ravens do. And if you're able to do that with the Jets, but who's going to want to play? What free agent's going to want to play for the Jets? And you might say, well, they'll go where the money is. I would take less. I would not want to go to the Jets. They have Sam Darnold and they have Le'Veon Bell. And not much other than that. And in that division where if you had been smart with any of these years with these draft picks, the Patriots are there for the taking. Now, Buffalo has improved, and Miami's going to be better as well, but the Jets are not even close to being competitive. What if the Jets end up with the worst record in football and Trevor Lawrence is staring at them? It's possible, folks. But I don't trust the Jets with what they're doing. And you give up, 2 first-round picks. That's kind of the going rate. If I go back to, some of these, Khalil Mack, Jalen Ramsey, it was costing you 2 first-rounders. But this is a late first round. Seattle doesn't draft usually any higher than, 20. So it's going to be between 20 and 30 if they happen to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, Paulie.
You mentioned big trades. The Khalil Mack trade, remember, Oakland got the Bears draft picks. One of those draft picks turned out to be Josh Jacobs, the running back out of Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So I know running backs aren't the biggest deal in the world, but that one's working out really well for the Raiders.
But they drafted well because Mike Mayock took him, and I think that was Josh Jacobs was what, a 23rd, 24th round pick, or pick 23rd or 24th overall. So you made a great pick at a place where, you're not getting a guy that is a, bona fide star. And that's the key, if you're able to capitalize on that. But now, Seattle doing that. And, this is a guy who is going to give you sacks. He had 6.5 sacks last season, Jamal Adams. That's fourth most by a safety in a single season in the last, 38 years, since they started keeping track of sacks. You got Adrian Wilson, played for Arizona. You had Roman Harper. He played for New Orleans. Dave Durison played for the Bears. And then you have Jamal Adams and Leroy Butler. So not that you expect to get sacks out of your safety, but this is a guy who's brought in to face the 49ers. Pete Carroll didn't say that, but that's what I think. You're bringing in Jamal Adams to basically help you against the run and be able to stop George Kittle. That would be it. Paulie was telling us, he went back and watched the last 10 minutes of the Super Bowl. And I surprised a lot of people, I think, when I said, how many touchdown passes do you think Patrick Mahomes threw last year in the regular season? He probably went, 35, 40. He threw 26. And there was a moment in the Super Bowl where Troy Aikman says, this is basically on Patrick Mahomes. He's got to get it together. He has not played well at all. So he had 2 picks in his previous 8 throws. He was losing the Super Bowl for Kansas City. They're down 10 with 7 minutes to go. And you start to look at each isolated play. Would Mahomes have gotten that contract if they won the Super Bowl? Would he have gotten that same amount of money if they had won the Super Bowl? And maybe he would. But Patrick Mahomes was not playing well in the Super Bowl against the Niners at all. He was hurting them. And there were a couple of, Jimmy Garoppolo, when you look back, he had a couple of missed throws. He had a couple of passes batted down. If they stop the Tyreek Hill play, that's 3rd and 13 or 3rd and 12, and they almost got to Mahomes. And that play there won the Super Bowl. Because if they get him, then they're going to win. But there were so many moments when you start to look at this and you go, they were so close to losing that Super Bowl. If not for Chris Jones, a defensive mistake by the Niners in their secondary that they somehow lost track of Tyreek Hill. How the hell that happens, I don't know. And Mostert gained 7 yards on a 1st and 10. And the Niners are down, or they're up 3 with 5 to go. He gets 7 yards. And Troy Aikman goes, you know what? Are they going to run it? And he goes back to a month prior and he goes, you know what? They did play action a month ago and it was incomplete. And instead of staying on the ground, running the ball, running the clock, play action, incomplete. So now it's 3rd and 3. He doesn't get, no, don't they have a false start on Joe Staley?
That's right. And it became like 3rd and
8
and 9. Yeah, about 3rd and 8.
Oh, my God.
And Garoppolo rolls right. He gets blitzed. And he doesn't throw the ball, obviously, so they're not going to get a first down. He runs out of bounds, which means the Chiefs don't even have to burn a timeout or burn 45 seconds.
Crazy.
It was a bunch of little things that happened, and then the Chiefs just exploded.
Yeah, and then you give them the ball. They're down 3 with 3 timeouts, and they end up winning the Super Bowl. But Mahomes was losing a Super Bowl for his team. And then what happened is Garoppolo was, and maybe he was put in a position to, not succeed. I don't want to say fail, but not succeed. And then Mahomes became Mahomes in the last 5 minutes. But Garoppolo was outplaying Patrick Mahomes. And all of a sudden, it changed. If they run Mostert 2 more times, I'm at least running the clock. Or you're going to use your time. I don't know, man. And it's frustrating. I mean, I picked Kansas City to win, but I'm watching the Niners going, it was that close. It was so close. If I'm a Niner fan, I do not want to watch that. Even the Joe Staley offsides motion is such an important penalty because now the defense knows we're going to put Garoppolo in a position where he's got to throw, and we like our chances here because they did not want – that's what shocked me. They didn't want Garoppolo to throw. The Niners didn't. And you do play action on 2nd and 3 with a chance to probably win the Super Bowl. If Mostert runs for a first down, now you got to burn timeouts. Now I like my chances a lot. And keep in mind, the Niners had a great defense last year. In those last 7 minutes, they did not look great. Yeah, Paul.
Dan, there's a play with 1:40 left. Garoppolo's got the ball 3rd and 10 at midfield, and he throws a long pass to Sanders, Emmanuel Sanders.
Wide open.
Sanders got a good yard past the 2 defenders, and he missed him by about 2 yards. He overthrew by about 2 yards. If he completes it, it's a touchdown. Jimmy Garoppolo goes up 3 points, and they obviously could have tied the game, the Chiefs. But can you imagine what we're talking about, Jimmy Garoppolo, the next great young quarterback to do this, a bomb to win the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah.
Yes. We would say, boy, that's what great quarterbacks do in a situation. And then we would look at Patrick Mahomes differently. Because we'd go, well, it's kind of a wait and see here. Can he win the big one here? Well, he lost to the Patriots the previous year, and he didn't look good at all in the Super Bowl. He had that moment down at the goal line when he ran the ball and, he got smashed. Ball went out of bounds. Like, there's a fine line, though. Really is. You go back to the Patriots Super Bowls for the most part. Those that they won and those that they didn't. And it's a fine line in almost every single one of those. If Butler doesn't make that interception, I mean, then all of a sudden it's different. If Vinatieri doesn't make that field goal, like it's so close between that margin of victory and defeat. Really, really amazing. We're going to take a break. We got phone calls coming up. 877-3DP show. Email address dp@danpatrick.com. I'm going to check in with the Marlins. We're going to talk to somebody who covers the team who can maybe tell us or help us out with this because I don't know what's going to happen. They're still in Philadelphia. So the Marlins were supposed to play tonight against Baltimore in Miami. They're still in Philadelphia. And now you have a total of 14 members of the team, the organization, who have tested positive. At what point do you have to forfeit? We have not heard back from Major League Baseball because they probably don't want to broach the topic. They may not have an answer to this. So I said to Fritzy, could you ask Major League Baseball, when does a postponement become a forfeit here?
Nothing just yet.
All righty. Your phone call's coming up, best and worst of the weekend. John Smoltz, the Hall of Famer, will join us a little bit later on. And we'll get to your phone calls. 877-3DP show. It's 18 after the hour. You're listening to The Dan Patrick Show. Buy Raycon.com. These are wireless earbuds. And, there's so many out there in the marketplace. But when they came to me, I said, what's different about them? They said, well, there's a lot of things. Nice noise fitting, the isolation fit that you have. There's more bass in there. You get 6 hours of playtime. And caught my attention after I listened to them when I realized they're about half the price of other premium wireless earbuds on the market, and they sound just as amazing. I went, okay. And then I found out that Snoop Dogg and Cardi B, Melissa Etheridge, just some of the artists who love these.
Your peeps.
Yes. Well, some of those are my peeps. Raycon's wireless earbuds, they're comfortable. Perfect for conference calls or video chats or binging podcasts. But the earbuds are stylish, discreet. There's no dangling wires or stems. They look good. They sound great. And you can get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/Patrick. That's buyraycon.com/Patrick for 15% off. The everyday E25 earbuds, the best ones yet. And as I mentioned, 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing. You'll love them. Buyraycon.com/Patrick.
Hit it. You can't hit the target.
Can you just toss one against the wall to see how it sounds?
Look, find him.
Here, let me.
How is that ball?
The ball's not. It needs more air.
So you want to hear this?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to hear it if?
Okay.
Oh,
that's all I need.
I might put a hole in the
Put
wall.
a dot on the wall.
Yeah, no, that might be a bad bet.
Yeah. Put some air in that thing.
That's good.
I think
That's Elway, like that's the cross. The Elway
cross, right?
All right, great. This is fun.
Well, we got some air going.
Drew said hit the microphone. I missed it by a little
more
bit.
stuff
Yeah, right.
in the man cave.
Okay,
You
so
want to get him loose?
Yeah.
McLovin's going to
We
get
got about
loose?
30 seconds.
Okay, 30 seconds. Oh man.
Take these.
Yeah. Do you want to put on the helmet, McLovin? Do you want to put on the helmet?
You might want to.
No, because I'm worried more about my hands.
Yeah.
Oh, you are? Oh, okay.
Yeah, which are already in pain.
I'm coaching high school football out in Bend, which is so fun. But I get to go play a little scout team quarterback every now and then.
Yeah, I'll cue you.
Okay. Where are your receiver gloves?
I don't know. I don't need them.
Okay.
I'm like Dallas Clark.
All right. Welcome back to the Dan Patrick Show. Drew Bledsoe's warming up here in the man cave. McLovin is on the receiving end. So what we're going to try to do is see if Drew can christen the wall here in the man cave. And actually, now, is the bet that he can put a hole in the wall or just an indentation in the wall?
I guess you judge it. I think there's going to be a indentation in the wall.
You should be able to put your a finger into the wall.
Something more than a mark. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay, because I already put the mark up there.
Dan, you're the
damage.
judge.
Gotta be damaged.
Have you ever had to judge how many miles an hour you throw when you're throwing it your fastest?
No, I don't. I have no idea.
Did you ever pitch in high school?
I pitched in middle school. I could throw it hard. I had no idea where I was going.
Okay.
You ever break someone's fingers on a pass?
Oh yeah. Like that deal right there where you split the webbing. Yeah, that happened. That happened a lot.
To who?
I was like two different guys in college. One guy it happened twice. Boone Gordon.
Does somebody else want to warm up too? I'm good. Thanks.
But Elway was accused of that he would even hit receivers.
Yeah, and leave a mark.
Yeah, he'd leave the cross there.
The Elway cross.
Can I ask one more question? If he stood there and you hit him in the chest,
Andrew,
now we're at your peak. Could you kill him? That's this guy right here.
You could hit him.
He's not going to die.
Well, no, we don't want him to die. But if you hit him in the heart, could you stop his heart?
Oh.
Or could you resuscitate it?
I hope not.
I like Paulie trying to get Andrew's heart stopped.
All right, Drew just threatening to do that could stop my heart. He doesn't even need to throw it.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so are we ready for this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, Dan, should you explain the situation?
Yeah, we're ready. We're ready to go.
Should you explain the situation with the backboard, or
that it may come down?
Yeah, we might go Daryl Dawkins.
Okay, your son.
Daryl Dawkins. If I bring the backboard down, then this is
Yeah, this could be an issue.
Legend status.
Now your son is on the other side of that wall.
I'm trying to
You might want to tell Stu that he needs to move out of there.
Stu, watch your head, dude.
Okay.
All
right, here we go.
Ready?
Oh!
I think we hit that one hit a stud. Let me see if I can hit it a little farther left. A little farther left. Stu.
No, it's coming.
Oh my goodness!
I think the ball needs more air in it. I think that's the problem.
Did you hear
Where's that?
I think the ball needs more air.
Can you hear that whiz by? Paulie needs. You're going to put in more air here for Drew?
Yeah, we need some more air. The ball's not legal.
Now the competitor is coming.
Ball's
out
not
here.
legal. Now we're going to stand here until I get it.
He's on a mission.
Now we're going to stand here until I get it. All right.
How did we do?
No, we're still. Wow. Let me go a little farther left. A little farther left.
We have a net here. Save the equipment. Best time I've ever had.
We can't make a hole though, can we?
Wow, this wall.
Oh, wow.
Hey, this is a great ad for.
Good job. Can you call yourself a quarterback?
I know. You know what? I'm over the hill, obviously. Obviously over the hill.
Oh, that wall's gonna eventually come down.
That's gonna hurt tomorrow, by the way.
Here's the big question. Why did the Marlins play baseball on Sunday? Multiple sources confirmed the Marlins played despite having 3 players learn Sunday that they had tested positive for COVID-19, just 2 days after a 4th player learned of a positive test on Friday So, two infectious disease specialists told The Athletic on Sunday that those positive tests fit the definition of a clear outbreak of the virus within their team. But sources said those tests were not enough for either Major League Baseball or the Marlins itself to give serious consideration to postponing this game. Meanwhile, the game tonight, the Marlins' scheduled home opener, has been postponed. They're playing the Orioles, but I don't know how they're going to be able to. I guess if they're going to try to double up these games, they play the Orioles 4 games. That's all they play this entire season. It's this week. Can you play? You're going to have 2 games in Miami, or you're supposed to. They're still in Philadelphia. Is Jordan McPherson there with us, Todd?
He is.
Yeah, he covers the Marlins for the Miami Herald. And Jordan, are you still with the team in Philadelphia?
I'm still in Philadelphia. I'm not directly in the same hotel or anything, or in the same vicinity as the team, but I am in Philadelphia right now.
Why did the Marlins play yesterday?
What they told us after the game Sunday is they didn't think that the hiccup, as they described it, because they weren't going to go in details about anything COVID related, were any bigger of a, at least with only 4 people testing positive, as we now know, they didn't think it was a big enough risk to basically cancel the game. So basically all the players self-isolated at the hotel as soon as they got word of the positive test, and the team thought that would be enough to keep the game going. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, all those players, with the exception of the player who tested positive at the beginning of the trip, they all played the first 2 games. So everybody was in some way, shape, or form potentially exposed, even if there wasn't a positive test. So it's overall, to me, is a big head scratcher. But their exact response was, we take risks every day, just by flying, just by traveling, just by taking buses and staying at hotels. So we know the risks that are in play, but if we're told we're able to play, we're going to play.
But Jordan, do the Marlins make this call, or does Major League Baseball make this call to be able to play yesterday?
I never got an exact answer to that. My assumption would be that Major League Baseball would be the ultimate decider, but nobody told them one way or the other that they had to not play. So without being told one way or the other whether or not they should play, they decided to go ahead and play.
And now you have the team is still in Philadelphia.
Correct.
Like when is everybody going home?
That's the question. They were originally supposed to fly out about 7 o'clock last night. They moved that flight to originally scheduled for about 11:15 this morning, because obviously after getting the news of the positive test yesterday morning, had everybody take the quick rapid test, which normally takes about 24 hours to get results. But as of about 9 a.m. this morning, their flight that was supposed to leave for Miami at 11 o'clock was canceled, and there is no update on that right now. So as of right now, they're in Philadelphia for, honestly, we don't know how long. It could be a day. They might not leave today. We don't know right now.
But I'm also wondering, Jordan, at what point, this is a postponement, at what point does this become a forfeit for the Marlins?
That's a very good question. And, that type of decision is going to have to come down soon because, in addition to the Marlins, you have to think about what's going on with the rest of the league. The New York Yankees are supposed to come into Philly and using that very same clubhouse the Marlins will be using for 3 days. There's going to be other parameters that go around the league. So this might be more than just a single team that gets impacted by this.
Are you able to do anything today in Philadelphia? Are you allowed to go anywhere? Have you been tested?
I have not personally been tested since I've been up here, but I've also have not had direct contact. I basically just been staying in my hotel for the time being.
That's probably smart.
Yeah.
But I don't know, what did the Braves and Phillies do since they played the Marlins? And now everybody's got to get tested. As you mentioned, the Yankees now going to Philadelphia. They're going to use that same locker room.
Yeah, there's a chance for a serious domino effect here if MLB doesn't come out with whatever their contingency plan is. Hopefully there is one. They haven't had to deal with the situation yet. But figuring out and seeing what MLB does in terms of responding to this over the course of today is going to be very, very interesting how not only today and this week plays out, but potentially the rest of the season.
It's unbelievable. Jordan, good luck, and we appreciate you joining us on short notice. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's Jordan McPherson. He covers the Marlins for the Miami Herald. So they're still in Philadelphia here. No flight planned here. And the fact that you've played a couple of series, the Braves and the Phillies, the Yankees going to Philadelphia here. And I know we look at it and we go, well, it's the Marlins and who cares? But if this was the Yankees, and it might be the Yankees, but if it is the Yankees or was the Yankees, this would shut down baseball. Here's the commissioner. I talked to him a couple of weeks ago, and I said, this was July 1st when the commissioner of Major League Baseball joined us. And I said, well, the question's included in it, and here is the commissioner. If you have to pause the season,
yes,
how long can you pause this season?
I don't have a firm number of days in mind. I think the way that I think about it, Dan, is in the vein of competitive integrity, right? In a 60-game season, if we have a team or two that's really decimated for with the number of people who have the virus and can't play for any significant period of time, it can have a real impact on the competition, and we have to think very, very hard about what we're doing.
Yeah, I want to know, at what point do these become forfeits? Because you can only postpone for so long. And if you have 10, 12, 14 people affected, and how many people they came in contact with that you faced, and then what's that do to those teams? And you only have, there's a finite amount of time to get the 60 games in. You got about 67 days. So you don't have wiggle room here. And they might have to get around to forfeiting games here. But we still haven't heard from Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball may not have an answer to this, because this is playing out hour by hour. But I would hope that they would have contingency plans for if there is an outbreak, the serious nature of it, how many players are involved in it. And I know that this is why they wanted to have a total of 60 players available for all the teams, 30 on the rosters. And then since there's no minor league baseball, you would have 30 to choose from to be able to call up. I don't know where those players are. I don't know if they're at home waiting for a phone call. Are they quarantined? It's a mess. Yeah, Paulie.
Bob Nightingale is reporting from USA Today that there are ongoing discussions whether the Yankees-Phillies game will take place tonight. It's still scheduled, but not.
They should not. They should not. Because you might say, well, it's one game and, so what? No. One game could lead to 5, 7, 10 that are postponed. Don't play it. A couple of phone calls, best and worst of the weekend. Once again, we'll talk to John Smoltz, the Hall of Famer. He'll join us coming up next hour, get his thoughts on all of this here. I was going to ask him about, some of these pitchers here, certainly what happened with Justin Verlander. But you start to look at some of these former Cy Young winners over the weekend. So Felix Hernandez and David Price, they're not even playing this season. Clayton Kershaw hurt his back. Corey Kluber, Justin Verlander, both appear to be headed to the injured list. It's trying to get these pitchers back and trying to get them back almost in midseason form because it's a 60-game sprint. Tyler in South Dakota leads us off this morning. Hi, Tyler. Best and worst of the weekend.
Hey, Dan. My best this weekend was my burgers and Philly cheesesteak brats that I grilled on my wood pellet grill yesterday. My bester was my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. They were celebrated on Saturday.
Nice.
Yeah. And then, before I get cut off, I want to make sure that I stand up for McLovin and just give a hard suck at Ethan.
Oh, whoa. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Tyler.
Blowback.
It's a little aggressive, but I like it.
It started.
I think that's our first suck at Ethan.
I know.
That's great.
I know. Ethan, they turn on you quick.
Ethan is definitely keeping track of how many people say suck at Ethan.
He's got stats on that. He does.
The ratio.
Yes, he's got. Let's see. The Phillies beat writer Matt Gelb says the Phillies are quarantining their entire visiting clubhouse staff after exposure to the Marlins this weekend. Some were tested yesterday waiting for results. Yankees brought their own clubhouse staff to Philadelphia last night. I would say to the Yankees, we're not playing baseball. It's one night. That's it. Oh, boy. Ryan in Baltimore. Ryan, what's on your mind today?
Hey, Dan, second-time caller, 5'11", 185. Best of the weekend, my hometown O's going up to Fenway, stealing a series from the Red Sox. Anytime you can go into Boston and take 2 out of 3 in that environment, it's a good weekend for us.
Yeah.
We're going to be that heavyweight battle with Miami tonight getting canceled with the Marlins outbreak.
I know. Not that anybody was looking forward to the Marlins and the Orioles, except for maybe Ryan. Thank you, Ryan, for the phone call. All of a sudden we're like, oh, the Marlins home opener got canceled. The only reason why I care is because the reason why it got canceled. Christian in Illinois. Hey, Christian, how are you?
Good, Dan. How are you?
Good. What do you have for me?
Hard 5'9", 160. I got a best and worst. Best is Anthony Rizzo giving Arcia hand sanitizer on first base.
That's pretty good. Pulled it out of his back pocket. By the way, this just in, the Yankees-Phillies game canceled tonight, sources tell The Athletic. That escalated quickly, and that's the smart decision here. What else do you have, Christian?
Worst, obviously, the Marlins. The positive test, bringing everything down.
Yeah, thanks for the phone call. They shouldn't have been playing yesterday. I mean, you have to be diligent with this. The margin of error is so small. Yeah, see.
I mean, it's bad enough to just have people test positive, but then, I mean, bad enough meaning that it's a tricky situation, just figuring out what to do there. But then to go and play anyway is just...
It's irresponsible. It is. And I know we want these sports to come back, and I know there's hundreds of millions of dollars at stake. And that's why if I'm, the commissioner of the NBA and I had the power, I would have said to Lou Williams of the Clippers, don't come back. We don't want you back. Yeah, we're not running the risk here. We gave you a hall pass. You needed to leave the bubble. We let you leave the bubble. You must be smart. You have to do the right thing because all it takes is 1 or 2, 3, and then they infect people, and then all of a sudden a team is infected, and then quarantine. Then all of a sudden you run the risk of shutting down a season. David in Michigan joining us. Hi, David. What's on your mind?
Hey, Danny.
Hey, bud.
Sorry, I had to say that like Shane Irvine. Whatever happened to that guy? I miss him. Best of the weekend was my Tigers. Had a couple come from behind wins there. We won a series to start the year. So, I mean, it's only going to go downhill from here, but I'll take it. Worst of the weekend is that I am still a Lions and Tigers fan. So that's about all.
Keep your head up there, David. The Yankees and Phillies have the same schedule as the Orioles and the Marlins. They meet 4 times, all of them this week. Monday and Tuesday in Philly, and then Wednesday and Thursday in New York. But I don't know what they're going to do now. Do you do a doubleheader? Can you do a doubleheader? Do you maybe have everybody tested, and then maybe you postpone those games, and then you play Wednesday and Thursday in New York? Oh, boy. Yes, Paulie.
I was thinking about this because what if the Marlins somehow have to sit for a week and they don't play a certain amount of games, but then they come back and they win, right? And they go on a tear and they become the best team in baseball, but they played 5 fewer games than the other team. They got actual rest, unintentionally, but they got rest. It wouldn't be fair. What if for 60 games it's like the most number of wins makes it, not the percentage of wins, and then you are penalized if you have an outbreak on your team. You're not rewarded for it.
Let's not get there yet. You're on record.
Yes.
You're on record.
Thank you.
Yes.
I don't know the math here. My head's going to explode. Like, remember Will Ferrell when he's debating? I kind of, but
you're on record. Duly noted here. That does it get to the point? Like, it's survival of the fittest, limping to the finish line. First one to 40 wins. Yes, Todd.
We got all worked up when Keith Olbermann, Buster Olney, and others. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near the World Series. Now, we just started a couple of days ago.
I know. And Olbermann, who was the first to tweet out. In fact, he just texted me this morning. He goes, the first domino has fallen, given the Marlins. He said 0.00% of the World Series being played this year. Buster Olney said the same thing. All right, we'll take a break. More phone calls coming up, and we'll give you our best and worst of the weekend. We're back after this in the Dan Patrick Show. Talking to Michael Kay, the Yankees play-by-play voice, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. Do you have a signature home run call? Like I know you worked with John Sterling, and you just do see ya. But did you ever have?
That's it.
That's enough.
Well, it's something real. I came up with something real short and classy. That's what I wanted to go with.
Well, that's why when I did the highlights on SportsCenter, I would just go gone, because you would time it with the pitch. So let's say Eckersley is delivering to Kurt Gibson, the pitch, the swing, gone. And then you lay out, and then they get to first base, and then I can, kind of fill in some of the stats. Now, I have the luxury of doing it with the game already. I already know what happens here. But when you do something like see ya, like when you get to the point where you go, that's my signature call.
Well, I got this job 27 years ago, and at the time I was dating a young lady who, when she would get out of the car at the end of a date, she'd go, "See ya, wouldn't want to be ya." And I said, I'm gonna hijack that as my home run call. So I've been doing it since the very beginning of when I got the job in 1992.
Wait, it's based on love, or maybe not love?
No, there was no love there.
By the way, here is John Sterling with the call on Giancarlo Stanton's home run last night.
Swung on and line down the right, left field line. It is got. Oh, it's a bullet line drive by Giancarlo. Giancarlo, no si può scopalo. It is a Stantonian home run, and the Yankees take a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, that was my second choice after see ya.
Now, Mike does the TV version of the Yankee games. John Sterling does the radio call there. Did you ever?
I worked with John for 10 years, Dan.
Yeah.
And I saw him do the first one of his signatures, and that was, "Burn, Baby, Burn" for Bernie Williams. And then it's become a cottage industry where, Brandon Steiner has him sign balls with all of those calls on it. So he makes a lot of money from it, but
really?
The Stan one I've told him I don't quite get.
I didn't know that. Well, it's that time of the show. Will this be the day that I fire Weeks, our cameraman? And I like
just have
Weeks.
Alan hit it.
It's just there has to be collateral damage here. If I have a hole in ones, there should be something at stake here. And I'm trying a little different routine today.
Are you trying to roll it in?
Well, I'm trying to hit it short to let it roll up because I have too much club, and so that's the Uh-oh.
Oh, coincidence.
Something froze here.
It hadn't froze at all today.
That's a good move by you, Weeks.
Yeah.
Nobody saw that one coming.
Saboteur.
The saboteur.
So, really nice job, Weeks.
Well done,
Well
Weeks.
done.
Dan, now we got to fire him for
Weeks
incompetence.
is playing chess, Dan.
And I'm playing checkers.
Yeah.
Well done, Weeks. You got me. Saboteur.
Now we got to fire him for his normal incompetence.
Yeah. Well.
The way I see the Jaguars from a few years ago is kind of where I see the Browns right now. We've got a ton of cap space. We've got an owner that wants to spend the money, just like with the Jaguars. And I think we can put together a great defense just like the Jaguars did by spending the money and getting those marquee guys like the Calais Campbells.
Are you saying Jaguars on purpose? Like, do you really believe that that's how it's pronounced, Joe? I mean, that Wisconsin education, is it Jaguars or Jaguars?
I didn't realize I was saying it any differently.
You said Jaguar.
It's Jaguar?
I think it's Jaguar.
Are you doing this intentionally to try to confuse me? I'm just a simple man from Wisconsin there, Dan.
No, I can't confuse you. I just, we had a problem with this yesterday. We needed to know how to pronounce Jaguar. And then, the English say Jaguar, and then, or Jaguar, and then we heard Jaguars. So then when I thought you were mocking me, I thought you were punking me, Joe. So I was coming at you.
Yes, I've actually never heard this discussion, but I love it. Yeah, I've always said Jaguar.
Hey, here's your podcast with you and AJ Hawk on your podcast. You guys can.
I love it.
Time for our best and worst of the weekend. More phone calls coming up. I also saw the list of things that the NFL defines as high-risk conduct. Now, they sent out a memo, sent it to all the teams, and the things that you cannot do during this pandemic: indoor nightclub with more than 15 people, indoor bar with more than 15 people, other than picking up food, indoor house party with more than 15 people, indoor music, concert, entertainment event with more than 15 people, professional sporting event other than applicable NFL games or events with more than 15 people, indoor religious services attended by more than 25% of the venue's capacity. The NFL is basically saying, here are the rules if we're going to try to pull this off. All right, best and worst of the weekend. Todd, I'll start with you.
My best of the weekend: on opening day this past Friday night, the voice of Tom Hanks selling hot dogs piped in at Oakland Coliseum.
Hot dogs here. Colossal hot dog. Not a ball game without a hot dog. Who wants a hot dog? Hot dog here. Hot dog. Colossal hot dog. Colossal dogs. Hot dog.
There you go. And as a youth, Hanks was actually a peanut vendor at A's games, so it all comes full circle for him. How cool is that? My worst of the weekend: 2 days after Clayton Kershaw misses his opening day start with back issues, Steven Strasburg can't go on Saturday due to a nerve issue in his right hand. And then we find out Verlander and Kluber, among others, suffering injuries on the mound.
McLovin, best and worst of the weekend.
Okay, my best sounds like this, and it's going to surprise you. Hit it.
For a second there, Al had John Morant. No one saw him, unable to get it.
Take that. Let me interrupt you because Ben Simmons, in rhythm, hit himself a corner three.
It's all happening. I don't even need a worst. With Ben Simmons draining threes left and right, the Philadelphia 76ers are going to tear through the bubble.
Here's something interesting about Ben Simmons. I don't know if this is true or not, but I thought of this when I saw him hit the three. He will benefit because there's no crowd. Because I think that he's nervous to take these shots. I think he gets embarrassed when he misses them badly. And I do think that Ben Simmons might be willing to take those shots a little bit more in the quarantine, in the bubble, because it's just a scrimmage. I mean, they are games, but it might help him psychologically. And he does need help, I think, psychologically in making those threes. But he did make the three, and he looks comfortable at times taking them. Continue, McLovin.
Well, if I did have a worst, is the Phillies lost to the Marlins 11-6. How do you lose to the Marlins? Forget the coronavirus. Aren't they rebuilding completely anyway?
The Marlins, yeah, I guess they're rebuilding. They got a nucleus there. They got some young talent there, but yeah, that's embarrassing. You're losing to a virus team. You can't even beat the Marlins. Seton O'Connor, best and worst of the weekend.
My best of the weekend was Juventus winning Serie A for the 9th straight year, which is a hell of an accomplishment. I mean, how many teams get to win a championship 9 years in a row? The worst of the weekend was that they did it in a completely empty stadium, and it was so weird. So weird. They had like streamers fired off. They're spraying champagne and like everybody's going nuts. And all you hear is like, yay, yay, yay. What?
Polyester, best and worst of the weekend.
This was the weirdest of the weekend. The Oklahoma Sooners have moved their opening game against Missouri State, that classic matchup, up from September 5th to August 29th.
Yeah.
I don't really know the reasoning behind it, but they got it approved by the NCAA, shocker. And they just said it's they feel ready to go and they want to get the season going and spread it out between the games.
Why not play this weekend? Why wait? We're gonna play August 1st instead.
They're very thankful to Missouri State for adjusting.
Of course.
Taking the check.
Yes.
Best of the weekend, I was flipping the channels yesterday. My wife and I are sitting there, and the kids were not in the room, so I put on UFC. I put on the UFC event, and I was watching it, and my wife has never really watched it, nor not watched it before. I go, does this bother you? Because it was getting pretty rough and a little bloody. She goes, no, it doesn't bother me. She goes, it's not me getting hit. She goes, those guys know what they signed up for. She didn't mind the bloody fighting at all in the UFC. I was like, oh, that's cool. I thought she might be a little squeamish.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Carol in Virginia. Hi, Carol. What do you have for me today?
Yes, I wanted to talk to you about, first of all, Miami. I'm originally was born and raised in Miami, and with the pandemic going on right now in Miami, the basically mayor, the governor, when we won't get into that, but basically wants everything open. So people are out of the beaches, are all over the place, and it doesn't surprise me that that there is a problem as far as the Marlins being close to everybody.
All right. Anything else?
Fritzy, I have a term for him, Michigana.
Crazy? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. It's a good word.
All right. Thank you, Carol.
Very accurate.
Little Yiddish there. I don't think you're crazy.
I'm not crazy, but it's kind of an endearing term. When someone's called a Meshuggah, it's not anything vicious or negative. I think, to me anyway, growing up, my grandparents would use that word. It's a playful kind of word for someone that's a little wacky, a little wild.
What is Yiddish for creepy?
Ooh, that I'd have to look up.
Okay.
But that'll be the next one we'll learn.
Thank you, Todd. Arthur in Texas. Hopefully I got that name right, Arthur, that it was spelled correctly by Marvin.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Yes.
So, a little while ago you were talking about the Super Bowl, and I wanted to bring to our memory that, Chris Jones had such a great game. I thought he got robbed of the MVP.
Well, Arthur, I brought that up for quite a few occasions here. He didn't have I think he had a half a tackle in that Super Bowl. He did knock down 3 passes. So did he have a great game? No, he didn't get robbed for the MVP, but he did have a couple of great plays there. So you're right. But I mentioned that about Chris Jones.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you,
I
Arthur.
love you guys.
Well, that's very sweet of you. Thank you, Arthur. No, I like when the audience keeps me honest there. Yeah. Chris Jones had half a tackle. So he had a half a tackle more than I did in the Super Bowl. But he did bat down 3 more passes than I did. And that's a big reason why they won the Super Bowl. Gary in South Carolina. Hi, Gary. What do you have for me?
Best of the week. Got to head down to the beach for a long weekend, spend some time with the family in Charleston. Worst of the week, my man, the Big Maple, blowing up Saturday for my Yankees.
All right. Well, thank you, Gary. The Big Maple? Anybody well-versed in trees? Nicknames? The Big Maple.
Sir.
Who blew up with the Yankees, Seton?
James Paxton.
Oh, James Paxton is the Big Maple?
The Big Maple.
Oh.
He's Canadian.
He's Canadian, yeah.
Oh, okay. He pitched well, didn't he? Oh, no, that's Patrick Corbin with the Nationals. He's the Big Redwood.
These are good nicknames.
No, he's not the Big Redwood.
Oh,
let's
go with that.
Made that.
This is fantastic.
The large spruce.
The Big Maple.
They call me the large spruce.
The talented oak.
Yeah. It's great.
The Weeping Willow. Arbor Day. When is Arbor Day?
Oh.
Yes, McLovin.
Not to get all botanist, but the weeping willow actually is a tree, unlike the other ones, isn't it?
Botanist. Would you want to be a botanist?
Botanist? Is there some other kind of expert for trees? What's a tree expert called?
Horticulturist? What's that? I know the term. I don't know what it means.
I think those are like plants.
Arborist?
So. Arborist. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you're an arborist. You're a tree specialist, right? John Smoltz will join us coming up. What the hell is happening in Major League Baseball? What's your favorite Joe Torre story?
Oh, man, my favorite Joe Torre is just,
96, I came in spring training, and I want to introduce myself, and I start speaking to the man in Spanish, and when he looked at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, "You don't speak Spanish, huh?" The man says, "Man, no, man." I mean, I was so embarrassed. I'm like, "Oh man," And the other one, I always told Joe, put me in center field, man. Put me in coach, Put me in coach, man. Put me in center field. Put me in the 8th inning, 2 outs inning. If they hit the ball to center field, I will catch it. And then put me in the game in the 9th. And I will fulfill my dream. And that's it.
So Joe
never did, man.
Joe never put you in center field.
Never did. He brought me from center field, opened those doors, but he never put me in center field.
We just had Mariano on, and he's really in a down mood, Joe. Mo is he's still a little bit upset that you didn't allow him to play at least one at-bat in center field defensively for one batter. Did you ever consider that?
No. I mean, I just missed it right away, Dan. I can just see him because he's so competitive. That batter would hit the ball to left center or right center field, and there he is jumping against the wall and making a great catch and laying there and having a stretcher take him off the field. So no thanks. I was satisfied with the 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 innings he pitched to help us win a ball game.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Mario, and I'm trying my best. I got a haircut this week. Dan had mentioned that he wanted to attract more of the female audience, so I thought I'd tighten it up a little bit on the sides. I think it looks good. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Everybody except Chat Row, of course. We're going to do some best and worst. Jay on Twitter had his best was Carlos Carrasco, first start since beating cancer. Cookie Carrasco had a great start this week. Garrett, he had his best was there was a home run derby in New York last night. Worse, no one told the Mets. Yeah, they did tee off on the Mets. As a Mets fan, very unfortunate to watch. Next up, we got Sweaty Teddy. Sweaty Teddy, his best was Cardinals baseball returns. My guy Yadier Molina making his 16th start. Shout out to Yadier Molina. His worst, sweating from body parts I didn't know I still had. Well, I guess that explains the name Sweaty Teddy. Good luck with that, Sweaty. Jason Neighbor. His best was baseball being back. His worst was the Angels giving up a grand slam in extra innings on Friday. I think you got more problems with Shohei Ohtani not being able to get out of an inning. And the final one was Joe Monty, best of the weekend temperature in deep South Texas, actually going into the 70s. Worst, having 3 inches of water in your house because of Hurricane Hannah. Yep. Our thoughts out to everybody affected by that. I'm Mario, and that was me trying my best.
Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Dan Patrick.
I've been poring over evidence all weekend, trying to solve the mystery of who egged Todd Fritz.
It wasn't just one egg. Someone threw some kind of egg drive-by.
Let's begin with the most obvious suspect, Phillip Rivers.
You hate Phillip Rivers, don't you?
Not a fan.
Yeah.
He has at least 9 lookouts.
Daddy.
Definitely could be him. Joe Buck. Who knows what Todd's been texting his wife.
Finally took matters into my own hands and egged his house.
Let's not forget about Bill Murray.
Oh, you're not allowed to call Bill Murray.
He also hates Todd. And lastly, wild thought here, Toto or Kohler. Some other toilet manufacturer that's been treated very poorly by Fritzy.
We are listening to you, and it sounds like a scene out of Revenant where he's wrestling the bear.
We'll get to the bottom of this mystery from the Mercedes Man Cave on this edition of the Dan Patrick Show.
Wow. We're 2 hours through and covered a lot of ground here. Welcome to the program. We'll talk to John Smoltz, the Hall of Famer, on loan from MLB Network and Fox. Join us in about 20 minutes from now. Miami Marlins home opener against the Orioles has been postponed. They have 14 members of the team that have tested positive. They're still in Philadelphia. Not sure when they're getting back home. They're supposed to have another game against the Orioles tomorrow. Then they go to Baltimore for 2 more games there. The Phillies-Yankees game has been postponed tonight because the Marlins were just there in Philadelphia facing the Phillies, and now the Yankees come to town. Other than that, how's your Monday? We talked a little bit about the Jamal Adams trade. We love to assess a grade, who won, who lost, and I would say Seattle won because they got something right now. I don't know what the Jets are going to do with these draft picks, but you get Jamal Adams, who is a marquee player, and you have a run-first, defensive-minded team in Seattle, and Pete Carroll got himself another great safety. And this is a team that's competing for a Super Bowl, was competing for a Super Bowl prior to this. And now you add Jamal Adams, and you added him basically, I think, to compete against the 49ers twice during the regular season because he's great at rushing the passer, running, stopping the running game. And I would just say to him, when we play the Niners, meet your best friend, George Kittle, on the other side of the ball. But just some of the thoughts that I had, and that I don't know what the Jets do with the draft picks. They have a new GM who came from the Ravens, Joe Douglas, and he was with Philadelphia as well. And has a good pedigree here, and maybe they're able to use these draft picks to get some impact players. But you're going to get somebody 23rd, 24th, 25th pick overall because pencil in Seattle for 9, 10, maybe 11 wins this year. And I understand it. Seattle's trying to win now with Russell Wilson. I get it. And the Jets, they're going to finish last again this year. They have nothing to show for this. Their draft picks since, 2010? They have nothing to show for this. They have Sam Darnold. That's basically it when it comes to first-round picks. I don't like their coach, and Adam Gase. I feel like he's more of a coordinator than a coach. But they won 7 games last year. Shocker. They somehow won 7 games. I don't know if they were trying to win 7, but they won 7 games last year. The Astros have lost Justin Verlander. He says that it's just maybe for a week, but it could be more serious than that. Lou Williams is out for the Clippers. He had gone to a strip club for takeout with wings, and he has been on record as saying that he loves Magic City. He loves the wings. It's his favorite restaurant in the world. Not the United States, not Atlanta, the world. So it must have been worth it for Lou Williams of the Clippers. And I would not allow him back in the bubble. I know that you have to because of the union. I would not let Lou Williams back in the bubble. I'd basically say to him, Lou, enjoy the wings. Hope you watch the TV and enjoy the Clippers as they move forward. The NBA begins in 3 days. And I guess, if you're the NBA, you're holding your breath. But you're in the bubble. occasionally you have guys who are going to do these things, but, I think the commissioner is cautiously optimistic about this season. It's not starting on time. It's will you see it through to completion? I don't see how baseball completes this season. I just don't. I mean, we're not even a week in. I don't know how you're able to do it because there is no bubble. And at the time we wondered, could the NBA pull this off with a bubble? The NHL with a bubble. And it feels like they've cut down on, the percentages, the negative percentages, the risk that's there. And they'll get this season off on time. But it's been kind of crazy here with what's going on. Major League Baseball deciding that they're going to cancel the Phillies and the Yankees game. The Marlins are stuck in Philadelphia. Guys are going to have to get tested. When can you fly home? Do you fly home? Can you go to Baltimore? And then what's going to happen to these games? At some point, the commissioner has to say, this is survival of the fittest. Like, if you're not healthy enough to field a team, then you forfeit the game. You got 60 games. You got 67 days. And you start to do the math. You can only postpone, cancel a couple of these. Then you have to start issuing forfeits. But this hurts the Orioles as well. And I know it's the Marlins and the Orioles, but if this was Philadelphia and the Yankees, the game tonight, or the Dodgers are involved in this, then all of a sudden this would be a big deal. But because it's the Marlins, we go, oh, it's the Marlins. They can't do anything right. No, doesn't matter the name of the team. It's what's going on in Major League Baseball and the fact that they allowed them to play the game over the weekend. Why did the Marlins play baseball on Sunday? And let me refresh your memory because multiple sources confirmed that the Marlins played despite having 3 players learn Sunday that they had tested positive. Just 2 days after a 4th player learned of a possible test on Friday. The Athletic talked to 2 infectious disease specialists who told The Athletic on Sunday that those positive tests fit the definition of a, quote, clear outbreak of the virus within the team. Sources said those tests were not enough for either Major League Baseball or the club itself to give serious consideration postponing the game. You didn't give it serious consideration? How many do I need for serious consideration? I'm guessing you gave it consideration, but serious consideration? No, we need to have more than 4. All right. Let me see. Poll question, McLovin. Are we going to stay with the Jamal Adams poll question?
No, we have a new one. People said the Seahawks, 60% say the Seahawks won the Jamal Adams trade. This is from Paulie. This is off the Lou Williams story. You have to eat one of these kinds of foods: airplane food, strip club food, deli buffet food, like New York City deli buffet, or gas station hot food.
Like a hot dog on a rotisserie at a Circle K in Scottsdale.
Well, you go in a 7-Eleven too, and you see those hot dogs, and they sort of resemble a hot dog, only malnourished.
Airplane food is very bland. It's only because you're in a controlled environment. It never works out well, if you know what I mean.
Yes, Todd.
When I was a kid, I got a hot dog once out of a bowling alley machine when they used to have such things like that. And I heated it up like it said to in the little oven that they provided in the corner by lane 12 or whatever. And I don't know if remember the Gobstoppers? They had 2 different colors. On the outside, it had that pinkish brown hot dog look, but then there was like a little green ring after I took a bite. Not to make anybody nauseous before lunchtime on the East Coast, but that was nasty.
Did you finish it?
I may have had a couple more bites. I don't think I ate the whole thing, but just wanted to make sure to see how far deep the green line went.
Wow.
That's gross. So gross. You not throw it out immediately. I was really hungry.
Yeah, but these were the machines where you put the money in, press the button,
exactly.
And then you would have to heat it up.
I can't believe they had that then, but back then you can get like a hot dog or a hamburger or pizza in a machine, like in a coin-operated machine, and pull it out of there.
Yes, Paul.
Strip club food, you never think that there's going to be a high-end award-winning chef working back in the kitchen. It doesn't seem like a place where a high-end chef aspires
Chef
to go.
Gordon Ramsay didn't start in a strip club?
I don't think so.
He did not.
I don't know so.
I've never had a meal. I've never had lunch or dinner in a strip club. Now, I've been with a guy who ordered a steak. He ordered a huge steak. And I just thought, okay, I think I might have seen it all now. And he
It's
made,
like, why not? What else do you get?
Yeah, he made no apologies. He goes, man, the steak here is great. Now, former baseball player, and he knew the strip club. I don't know if you went with this. Remember, I had to make a deal. I shouldn't mention the name, but I had to make a deal that I would go to the strip club for 30 minutes.
Was this Scott's?
No, not that one. I had to go. I said, we were going to go to a bar in Atlanta. I think it was Fido's or something like that. In
Irish
Buckhead.
pub.
Yeah. And the guy we were with said, I want to go to Cheetah 3. And I said, all right, 30 minutes. And we get there, and he walks in, and he is going to town. Everybody knows him, and he's like, but. So I get stuck while I'm waiting for him, and the clock is running, and now we're at 45 minutes. He goes, I can't leave. I ordered steak. I said, okay. I meet a woman, a dancer, who is from Kentucky, and she says, I can see your soul through your eyes. And I went, get me out of here. Get me out of here. She says, I hear you're from Cincinnati. We're really close. And I went, no, I don't think so. She goes, yeah, Florence, Kentucky and Cincinnati, really close. I said, but I don't live there anymore. And then she said, I can see your soul through your eyes. I said, God, check, please. Yes, Todd.
I was at a strip club in Kentucky once for a friend's wedding, and all I can remember, some woman came up to us, not particularly attractive, might have had some dental issues. My turn to get naked, could I have $1? And it was just very, very frightening. I don't know why we left the wedding in the middle in our tuxedos to go into a strip club a couple of blocks away, but we did. My turn to get naked, could I have $1? And she was about the size of like your average offensive line. It was just not a good show.
All righty. Man, can we get sidetracked on this program? We lead the league in getting sidetracked here. I meant well when I started this hour. I did. We gave you our best and worst of the weekend. A couple more phone calls in here. Mike in Iowa joining us on the program. Good morning, Mike. What do you have for me today?
Mike, Iowa, 5'11", 280. Thank you. Best of the weekend, Kyle Hendricks, complete game shutout. I know you already talked about it, so we don't need to harp on that one. But the worst of the weekend is that the MLB is still holding fast and true to their blackout rules.
Oh, yeah, I know. I saw that. Thank you, Mike. I just don't know why you had Hendricks go the entire game, like a complete game 3 hitter. He pitched against the White Sox in one of their spring training games. I love watching him pitch because he's one of those pitchers. He doesn't overwhelm you with velocity, but man, can he just pitch. He's a very smart pitcher. And so at the first complete game of this, I don't think there's going to be, if I said over under complete games and I said 5.
By any pitcher?
Yeah. No, total.
For the whole league
season.
You might be right.
I don't know how many teams are going to go, yeah, let me send him back out there because you need all hands on deck in a 60-game sprint here. George in Arizona. George, welcome to the program.
How you doing, Dan?
Great, George.
I tell you, I had a wonderful weekend, and it was because of our team, the Diamondbacks. The first day, with our great new pitcher, he blew it in the 6th inning, and we lost. The second game, the same thing, we lost. Then last night, in the very, very end of the game, the last 3 or 4 innings, we came through, we started hitting, and we won the game. In about an hour, we play again. So I'm hoping. And then later on, I saw the Suns. So that's 2 in a row.
Well, that sounds like a full weekend there, George. Sounds like a great weekend. Thanks for the phone call there.
Read a book and got some work done on my toes. It's the big one's been acting up again. I call him Chuck. then the Oldsmobile is going to put it to rest.
And then, Win in North Carolina. Hi, Win. What do you have for me today?
Hey, Dan. How are you?
Great, Win.
Good to be watching the show as usual. I'm going to start off with the worst of the weekend, which is the passing of Peter Green, who founded Fleetwood Mac, and he was the best blues guitarist of his era, and that includes Clapton. Unfortunately, when he left, Fleetwood Mac became the bubblegum machine that we know all too well.
All right.
The best was the Yankees playing this weekend, and me being able to listen to John Sterling and Susan Waldman call the games. I just love them. And just as an aside to that, I cannot believe the incredibly poor judgment of whoever let the Marlins play yesterday.
I agree. Thank you, Win. Yeah. I mean, that is a big story right now, because I don't know who from the Phillies came in contact with the Marlins. Yeah, Peter Green was the founder of Fleetwood Mac, and it was a completely different sounding group. So you had Mick Fleetwood, the drummer, Peter Green, they started Fleetwood Mac. I did not realize this, but the Santana song, Black Magic Woman, was written by Peter Green, I believe, of Fleetwood Mac. But he was a great blues guitarist, and in that era, you know, when you had Clapton and some of these other great guitar players, Peter Green was right there, held his own. Yeah, McLevin.
Why didn't he get his name in the band if it's a Fleetwood Mac?
I don't know why he didn't call it, Fleetwood or Fleetwood Green or something like that. But didn't they bring in John McVie, the bass player?
And that's Mac. Yeah.
And maybe that was the Fleetwood Mac.
And then they all intermarried and stuff, right? Isn't there all the drama with that band?
Christine McVie was married to John McVie, but then they got divorced. Mick Fleetwood, I think, went out with Stevie Nicks, but then you had Lindsey Buckingham, who was dating Stevie Nicks as well. Other than that...
And if you don't know the band, you're not sure if Lindsey is a man or a woman.
Lindsey is a man.
Right.
Very handsome man. Yes, Eden.
So I just happened to, I'm not familiar with Peter Green, so immediately went to Wikipedia, and it's very long, so I just started scrolling down real quick, and the sentence that I landed on, it's a very small paragraph, but it says... Green's bandmates began to notice changes in his state of mind. He was taking large doses of LSD, grew a beard, and began to wear robes and a crucifix. Mick Fleetwood recalls Green becoming concerned about accumulating wealth. I had conversations with Peter Green around that time, and he was obsessive about us not making any money, wanting us to give it all away. And I'd say, well, you could do that. I don't want to do that. And that doesn't make me a bad person.
So that's when they started to take note of his demeanor. A robe, a cross.
And large quantities of LSD.
Yeah, and didn't want any money. Okay.
Peter, I think we're going to go in a different direction.
Peter, I think we're going to go to pop music this time. I think the blues, you're taking them a little too seriously, Peter.
Put away the sitar and get on board, man.
All right, we'll take a break. John Smoltz will join us coming up next. Maybe he's got some thoughts on what baseball should be doing now. And at what point do you start forfeiting games with these teams? 19 after the hour, this is the Dan Patrick Show. When's the last time you got a great night's sleep? Yeah, thought so. Quality sleep is the key to your health and well-being, especially you enjoy safe, fun activities this summer. But, you think about sleep, the natural immunity booster that helps our focus and our moods and our ability to manage stress in all these trying times when you get a great night's sleep. And the Sleep Number, the Sleep Number settings I've told you about, they have Sleep IQ technology. It's 2 beds in one, perfect bed for couples. And sleep affects our immune system. Getting a good night's sleep is one of the best ways to help prevent and recover from illness. And that means you feel less prone to obesity and diabetes, heart disease, and depression. Discover proven quality sleep for your health and well-being with the Sleep Number 360 smart bed right now. And for a limited time, save up to $900 on select Sleep Number beds. Now, you can go to the Sleep Number stores, or you can check out sleepnumber.com/Patrick. Once again, limited time, save up to $900 on select smart beds. Sleepnumber.com/Patrick. Who have you competed for jobs with?
I have no idea. I don't know who I really compete against.
You don't know who's auditioned for?
Well, I heard like for Walter White, I heard that John Cusack name was mentioned, and Matthew Broderick's name was mentioned, and Steve Zahn was mentioned. But that's all I know is that they were mentioned. I don't know if they ever really had meetings, or I have no idea. I don't pay any attention to that.
Do you audition? Do you have to audition it now?
Well, everything's an audition, even when you're not officially reading for something. When you're meeting a director for a possible role, it's an audition.
Yeah.
He or she is looking at you going, I think he's right for it, or I don't think he's going to be right for it. And you're in turn talking to them about, how do you see this character played out? And do I think I can work with you?
But I would never know, meeting you, that you could have been Walter White. Like, what would you show me if I was a director and I said, oh, okay, Brian, come on in. And then I would have you read some things?
Yeah, you'd read, if there was a regular audition setup, you'd go in and you'd have what they call sides, and you'd read a part of the character, and then they determined whether or not they felt you could do it. Now, I was very fortunate because I was on one episode of The X-Files that Vince Gilligan wrote and produced, and he was on the set, and the character that he wrote for this particular episode was despicable, anti-Semite, angry, irascible.
This is when
bastard.
You're in the car with Duchovny?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But you still had to feel some level of human compassion for this man when he died, as a waste of a human life. And so it does take a little finesse to be able to walk that line of being, in one sense, despicable, and in the other sense, he's still a human being. I still care that he, I don't want him to die, but I didn't like him. And so there's that kind of thing. And Vince thought, this is the combination that I want for Walter White. Without Vince Gilligan, I'm not sitting in this chair right now. And you're not wearing that sweater right now.
John Cusack is sitting
in this chair right now. Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Marvin Prince here. Thank you so much for the interaction, everybody. All right, we got a couple of emails right here. One from my man McGee in South Carolina. He says, if a strip club is seriously Lou Williams' favorite restaurant on earth, then his sanity seriously needs to be checked. One day we're going to have a real conversation in America about how good the wings are in adult establishments in Atlanta. Got one from Jamie in North Carolina. He said, thanks, Win, who was a caller earlier. Great guitarist Fleetwood Mac was so much better in the beginning. And listen, wait, this is what I don't like. Sorry, guys. Sorry, chat row. I got to cut this off. Guys, can we not be one of those, so-and-so was so much better in the beginning, your favorite artist? Let's just enjoy them, period. I like rumors. You guys don't like rumors? Thunder. Never mind. All right, and one more. As a Niners fan, I want to thank you, DP, for twisting the knife from the Super Bowl that's still in my chest. Appreciate the enthusiasm. As a 49ers fan, I almost quit when he just started talking about the Super Bowl. But I won't. I'll just have Mario pick those up. I'm out, y'all.
This program brought to you by Mercedes-AMG. Be prepared for whatever comes your way. It's the all-new GT four-door coupe because life is a race. Visit your local dealership for a test drive today. And if you missed any of our interviews this week or any week from the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave, go to danpatrick.com. Watch and listen from inside the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave, Mercedes-AMG Driving Performance. He's a Hall of Famer. He works for the MLB Network. He's on the call for the Angels and the A's on MLB Network at 3:30 Eastern today. He's John Smoltz back with the program. John, pretty eventful Monday here considering the Yankees and Phillies has been postponed. The Marlins can't fly home from Philadelphia. They got 14 members of the organization who've tested positive. And we don't know about the Phillies, anybody who came in contact with them. Other than that, how's your Monday?
This is it's not obviously the news you want to have when a baseball season is getting ready to be one of the most exciting seasons ever. I know going into this, baseball had so many different protocols and scenarios that if things came up, they had the luxury of moving a team out of a hot spot or so on. You know, you just hope that the certain trends that have happened the last couple of weeks, guys seem to be getting over it really quickly. And there hasn't been any real setbacks there. But when you have a high number in one team, that is a concern. I'm going to remain optimistic because I think if everybody keeps pulling in the right direction and adheres to the protocols, maybe this is just a little bit of a blip. But it's certainly a number that no franchise or team wants to have happen at any point in the season, yet alone really early.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, John, at what point these are, games that are postponed, but at what point do they become forfeits? Because we have a finite number of days, and we know we have 60 games to get those games in. I don't know how much wiggle room is there for Major League Baseball to extend the regular season as far as dates go.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough it's a quandary, right? I mean, if this was multiple teams, I think the answer would be a lot easier. It's right now one team, and I don't think that unless it just continues to be more of an issue, I think the best way to address it is to move on in a cautious way and let your roster, pick up the pieces until those guys can get cleared. And that's going to be an interesting next couple of days to see what you just said, if the other teams don't have any traces of this. And my hope is that it is an isolated and one-off scenario. I hate it for the Marlins. I hate it for anyone that's got to go through it. But hopefully it's a quick one, and hopefully it's one of those scenarios where people talked about already that have been asymptomatic, have had no real issues, and have come back pretty quickly.
I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but former Cy Young winners didn't have a good weekend. Now, you already have David Price and Felix Hernandez, who aren't even pitching this season. Clayton Kershaw tweaks his back. Corey Kluber and Justin Verlander looks like they're head to the injury list. Just the whole process here of these starting pitchers you guys are creatures of habit. And, to try to hit the ground running, no real spring training here, or you had one and interrupted by 4 months. I mean, is this alarming to you with what you're seeing with some of these marquee pitchers, John?
Yeah, I hope not. And because here's what would be my battle cry if I was still playing and talking to my team. I would say this: look, we can't be paralyzed by the what if scenarios. We got to do the best we can to be in shape. I'm really actually pleasantly surprised by the shape everybody's in, and really how everybody has been as if they haven't missed any time. You're always going to have, see, here's the problem. Every normal year, there's going to be injuries. Matter of fact, I've said this forever. Baseball's never addressed really the injury epidemic that has happened because there's so many pieces and so many people who pick up. There's so many talented players. So when you have this scenario and it's going to be magnified, and everyone's going to watch for everything, I think the natural thing to do is say, well, it's because of this. The teams that bond together and the teams that overcome whatever it is about this year being uncomfortable, I honestly think are going to have a huge advantage, even if their roster isn't the best roster going into the season. So I think everyone's got a watchful eye for everything that pops up. And I want to believe that this is just an isolated incident. Unfortunately, and maybe not as bad as first reported.
And then Shohei Ohtani, who hadn't been on the mound for 20 months, he goes out, doesn't even register an out, coming back from Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, that was more to do with having not pitched in a long time, right? I think having gone through Tommy John surgery and coming back in 11 months, I wasn't quite where I needed to be after 4 games. I think he's going to be fine because he's had a lot of time of rest, but there's a lot of rust. And here's the one thing he could do that no other pitcher can do. He can make up for that lackluster performance with a couple home runs the next time he gets to the plate. He can take it out on the baseball. This is a special kid. And, I just think that the only problem he's going to have is waiting 6 more days to get back on the mound. He just didn't let the ball go, and it's natural. You tell yourself to let it go. The ball came out cutting. These are all byproducts of coming back from Tommy John that after you get reps, you'll be fine.
Any surprises so far? Anything stand out?
Yeah, the biggest thing I really can't wait to watch is the limited games give these teams that may not be able to sustain the pitching over 162. I think the easy pick that everybody was talking about could be a surprise, San Diego Padres. They have a tremendous bullpen. They've got young pitching that may or may not have been able to sustain itself over 162. I just think this bodes well for what I've always tried to tell you I'm an advocate for, and that's the split seasons. That gives everybody a little race to have a competitive chance. And I hope we can go without any more hiccups, because you're going to talk about this year at the end of baseball, and you'll remember this year for a lot of things. And hopefully it's because it's the most exciting 60 games you've ever seen.
He's John Smoltz, the Hall of Famer, Major League Baseball Network analyst. Angels A's on MLB Network at 3:30 Eastern. The smallest crowd you ever pitched in front of was what?
Easily. Atlanta Braves first 3 years, probably 570 people. I tried counting them when I was on the mound, so that tells you I wasn't really locked into the game. I heard the vendors. I heard the lights buzzing. I heard everybody ragging me. It was a very difficult time the first couple years putting on a Braves uniform. Everyone talked about, I'll never forget, showing up, excited about being in the big leagues. I went to a local comedy club, and the first 45 minutes was on the Atlanta Braves. And I mean, people were falling out of their seats laughing. I had to get out. And they just always used to say this would be a great year to paint the seats because nobody was there. So it is distracting. My first 3 years in the big leagues, I couldn't do what they're doing right now. It would take so much adjustment for me. And I learned how to lock in and challenge myself in games that maybe you found yourself drifting. That's the biggest challenge for a lot of guys, is their personalities may not fit for this. Like a guy who plays with emotion and by the seat of his pants is going to have to recreate that. That's hard for him. But the guy like a Kluber or someone who's just laid back, this is no big deal. Like this would be a great environment. I think personalities have a lot to do with how guys will deal with this in this atmosphere.
Well, you also have that downtime. Like, what do you do in today's world, Major League Baseball, as opposed to, back there in Atlanta, you at least had Atlanta, but these guys have to really self-police themselves.
Yeah, that is exactly right. And that goes back to where I would have that team meeting and just encourage guys that whatever creativity we could come up with on our time away, adhering to the protocols, that would be the challenge. And that's the teams that do that are going to be the teams that have the most advantage of getting through this, because what you don't want in a long season, a long journey, you get teams that drift and players that drift. You don't want that if 3 weeks out. Like, it's real easy to have your season go in the wrong way because you don't have much time for your statistical categories, and or have a bad week, go 2-8 as a team, and you start feeling like, you just threw your season away. That's going to be the challenge for managers, more so than information, more so than strategy. And that's what's going to make this kind of unique. You just hope people and players do what they got to do. It's a shorter time. And shoot, the trade deadline's in 5 weeks. So there's a lot of things that are sped up.
I saw where you played golf in Tahoe with Clemens and Maddox.
Yeah.
If you were going to build the perfect pitcher out of you three, so you could take whatever you wanted from each one.
Wow,
What do you take from Clemens?
Well, just, I would take Clemens and Maddox and morph them into one because it's the ultimate control power scenario. I mean, that would be the machine that would be tough to ever beat. You've got the power of Clemens, the precision of Maddox, and you add
Who
in
would you start your franchise with? I'll give you Maddox or Clemens.
Wow. Oh, man.
In today's baseball.
Well, you know what? That's a great question that everyone says, well, Greg Maddux would be exposed or Glavine be exposed today. I totally disagree. I think Maddox would be the same pitcher and have more strikeouts because his ability to hit spots where a guy's trying to swing, you got to understand, errors are difficult to compare because everybody today is swinging with a launch angle, and he's going to get the ball under the barrel of the bat as easily as anybody else. And so everything's going to be kind of, he may give up a few more home runs, but his ability to miss bats, that's my one argument. I would make that argument, and the St. Louis Cardinals back in the day when they used to not hit home runs and run would still have success because it would be so difficult to defend them and so difficult to try to lock in on Maddox because his ball moves so much.
I just wonder, John, at some point, do we have somebody who it's counterintuitive that they decide that they're going to play small ball? That the ballpark is a pitcher's ballpark, and we're going to have guys who run, and just it'll be different. You'll save money too. You don't have to spend money on home run hitters here, and you're playing 81 games at home, so that is a true home field advantage. I don't know. I wonder if somebody goes, the heck with just hitting home runs. We're going to play a different style of baseball.
I totally agree. And you're going to get some teams actually doing that. I know Kansas City talked about in their rebuild to try and get back to a little bit of that. They play in a big ballpark. You think the one thing that nobody really, you wouldn't think Colorado would go to that because obviously that's a Masters park. But think how big that park is. And if you had speed, you put more pressure on the teams. I totally agree with you. I think it's taken a while for teams to do that. But you're going to find that the teams are going to have to zig a little bit when everyone's zagging. And I'm looking forward to it because that adjustment would be for a lot of teams. They would look at it. We just don't showcase enough of the guy's talent at times. There's guys that can run. There's weapons that we kind of hold in and because of analytics at times don't allow those packages to be unwrapped.
When's the one time when you gave up a home run and you just went, that guy took me deep, I'm embarrassed?
Oh my gosh. I'm infamous for the Jose Lean not hitting a home run in 2,500 at bats. I gave him up. I gave one up to him. Like every time I see Vince Coleman, he's like, I can't believe you threw that slider down. And he hadn't hit a home run in 1,000 at bats. And I gave one. It was Chucky Carr. Like I could go on and on for the guys that I didn't think could hit a home run, and I did them the biggest favor they could do.
Well, you hit their bat, I think, is what happened. I think so. Like there's no shame in giving up a home run to Bonds.
No, not at all. No, I mean that's part of the game, and those guys are going to hit. Like if I was pitching today, there's no doubt I would be on the leaderboard for some of the farthest given home runs. There's no doubt, and I would have no problem with that. It's the wall scrapers. It's the ones that you just kind of hoping. But there were times where I sat on the mound and go, really? Like I just did that. So guys that got their first hits off of me a lot, like career, I threw more balls back to the dugout for career first hits. And that was starting to become a running joke in the team. But yeah, those things, I remember those.
You're starting to sound like a modern day Bob Uecker, but you're a Hall of Famer. Uecker's a Hall of Fame announcer here.
Those are the things that stick out, more than ever. You don't know this guy. My favorite story is like Chipper and I played for 100 years. And one of the things I would always do every time, he had this unbelievable mind for recognizing and remembering, especially when he was at the plate. And Juan Castro was playing for the Dodgers. It was out in LA, and I had no clue about this guy, and I didn't know what he could do. So I called him over. And I said, hey, what do I do? What's this guy like? He goes, he's a slap hitter. Just go after him with a fastball. First pitch, line drive off my wrist into center field, fractured my wrist. I had to come out of the game. And I said, don't worry about ever coming over to the mound again for scouting reports. Just stick to what you're doing. was the way I couldn't believe it. He said, well, I didn't tell you to throw it right down the middle. I said, you said he was a slap hitter.
And you guys are so crazy that you probably remember like counts that, you'll go, oh, it's a 3-1. Like Vince Coleman hit a home run off of you. Do you remember the count? You said it was a slider down.
Yeah, I had 2 strikes on him. He had fouled off a bunch of fastballs, and he said, he goes, there's no chance I was catching up to your fastball, and you threw me a down and in slider, and I just kind of scooped it. So, yeah.
Oh, God. I love the memory. You can't remember if your wife tells you to get something at the grocery store.
Correct.
But you can tell me the count when Bonds hit the incredible home run off of you that you still can't believe it.
Yep. That's I wish I had that kind of capacity in school to remember things like that.
Have fun today, John. Hope you're well, and thanks for joining us.
All right. Hope everyone stays safe.
That's John Smoltz, Hall of Famer, MLB Network analyst. Angels, A's on MLB Network at 3:30 Eastern. Take a break. Back after this in the Dan Patrick Show. I don't know where your confidence comes from because it feels like there's just, it's not cocky, but it's confident.
Yeah, it comes from preparation. I win the games on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I don't win them on Saturday. So I'm confident because I understand what the defense is doing before they do it. And that's where my confidence comes from on Saturdays.
Where'd you learn that?
JT Barrett? Yeah, that's how I learned to. I watched film throughout all high school and all that, like quarterbacks do. My dad taught me a little bit about it, but, I really learned how to prepare like a pro from JT. Do
you have any doubts?
Any doubts? About myself?
Yeah.
No.
Nothing?
No. Why would I?
Well, you're going into the NFL.
Yeah, and it's going to be very, very difficult, but I'm confident that I'm going to work just about as hard, if not harder than everybody else. And, if I might be a good player, I might not be a good player, but I know I'm going to work my hardest to be the best player I can be.
What have you seen draft profiles on you of what they say?
I've seen a couple of things, but not extensively.
Any negatives that they've said about you that stand out?
The whole thing, my whole career has been my arm strength, so I'm sure that's one of them without having looked at it.
Yeah, but I wonder about that if I said the one thing you have to have as a quarterback, what's the one thing every quarterback has, or greatness that you have that?
So it's not. So you want to have timing and accuracy. But the timing and accuracy comes from understanding the offense and the defense. So it all starts with the brain. You got to be smart, but then you got to be accurate and be able to throw on time as well. So you got to understand the ins and outs of the offense so you can use your eyes to manipulate the defense. Then you have to understand what the defense is doing so you can do that as well and open up windows wider than what they usually are to throw on time, and then you got to throw accurately.
How many times do you go to the line of scrimmage this year and say, this is going to be a touchdown?
A lot. I threw 60, so probably 30.
How do you hide it when you know you got the right play?
I try to look away from the guy I'm going to throw to the best I can.
But when you see coverage and know what you've called, and it's just a matter of if you put the ball in the right place.
Yeah, as long as certain plays are just me making plays or our receivers making plays, but a lot of them are schemed up plays against a certain coverage. And when I see that coverage, I'm pretty excited. As long as the O-line holds up for 2 seconds, then we'll throw it.
TY, as in Ty Cobb. On this date in 1984, Montreal Expo, Pete Rose. You know him from the Reds and Phillies, but he did spend some time with the Expos. He wore uniform number 14, gets his 3,053rd single of his career, past Hall of Famer Ty Cobb for most all time, did it in the third inning in Philly, a former Phillies teammate Steve Carlton. And for 1988, The clue is Tommy Go Figure, a mound of embarrassment. On this date in 1988, Brewers-Yankees, 45-year-old Tommy John gets the win, but this happened and it was a bit of a disaster for Tommy John.
They'll only be able to get one if they can get that. Here, John topples the ball and should have held it. John does not normally make that kind of mistake. They're going to try to score again here. And Tommy made 2 errors. Tommy should have stayed right on the mound. Well, you're right, absolutely. 3 errors? They can't give him 3 errors now.
So there you go. Tommy John makes 3 errors on one play on this date in 1988. He wore number 25. So you got Pete Rose, uniform number 14 with the Expos. Tommy John, uniform number 25. 1984, Pete Rose breaks the record for singles. 88, Tommy John commits 3 errors on one play. Yikes. Congratulations, Andrew in Kentucky.
What a strange day. It's not even noon Eastern time. This day in sports history coming up. Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs quarterback, talked about his concerns going into training camp with COVID-19. And this is part of the interview that he had on a conference call.
Definitely there's going to be a little concern. You'd be lying to say you have no concern. But at the same time, as I've been throughout the facility now the last night and then a little bit today and seeing all the protocols and all the safety things that Rick and all these guys have put forth, it's really kind of made me feel even better than I thought coming in, knowing how much that the NFL and the NFLPA has really put into making sure that we can be as safe as we possibly can be. And so that's kind of put my mind at ease of knowing that I'm going to be in the best possible situation given the time to be as safe and as healthy as possible.
Stay positive. Stay, let me hear.
I feel very safe, Piggy.
I thought, Seton, do you do a
Seton's
Patrick?
is actually a little better.
Because I was just thinking about how like the most important football player of a generation now is absolutely never coming on this show ever again.
Yeah, now that Andrew Luck's gone, let's offend the new youngest face of the most popular sport.
He's got a sense of well, we've already done it, so we might as well continue.
I'm very wealthy.
What do you have, Seton?
I don't have one.
You're not going to do it anymore?
I don't know that I ever did.
Wait,
I thought you did.
I thought you did.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
Wasn't me.
I vaguely remember somebody sitting in that chair.
No, that's Todd's bit, not mine. That's Todd Fritz's bit.
I really think Seton had one as well. That was at least as good.
Nope,
I think so. It might have been better.
Nope, wasn't me. I'm not the impressions guy on the show. That's Todd.
Kermit and Miss Piggy. All righty, a couple of phone calls here this day in sports history. All of that coming up. Barry in New York joining us. Hey, Barry, what's on your mind?
Good morning, fellas. 5'9", 190. Thank you. Best of the weekend, the Mets put cardboard cutouts of some of the players' dogs in right field this weekend. Worst of the weekend, Jeff McNeil's dog got hit in the snout with a Braves home run.
Yeah, I did see that. Thanks for the phone call, Barry. Steve in Florida joins us. Hi, Steve. What do you have for me?
Hey, Dan. It's good to talk to you again. My best is the Yankees. They're looking pretty good. My worst is I met up with some of my buddies I haven't seen in years, and my middle name is Benjamin, and my last name is Deo. So all through the card game, I'm hearing Bendejo lost again, Bendejo won, and I thought they would forget about it, but
Thank you for the phone call, Steve. Forget about it. Brian in Indiana joins us. Hi, Brian.
Hey, Dan. 5'11", 210. Thank you, sir. Best of the weekend, Tigers taking 2 out of 3 from the Reds. Worst of the weekend was one of the games Tom Brenneman was comparing one of the players to Jack Clark. And he went on to say that he thought Jack Clark had passed away.
Oh.
Jack Clark is alive and well. And I went to Jack Clark's Wikipedia page, and the first line says, Jack Clark, who Tom Brenneman killed July 25th, 2020.
That's good. Yeah, Paul.
A buddy of mine worked at NBC News, the news desk, years and years ago in the late 90s, and they did a scroll that said Joe DiMaggio passed away. Joe DiMaggio was sitting at home with his lawyer next to him watching the game, the All-Star game or whatever game it was, World Series, and had his lawyer call the news desk at NBC and said, yeah, Joe's fine. He's right here watching.
Alive and well.
Yep.
We did lose Regis Philbin, passed away over the weekend. What a wonderful guy. He was always in a great mood. Always. And cheery, loved talking Notre Dame football. Of course, he stole the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire role from me, but I got over it eventually. But yeah, I was up for that. I was getting that job. Met with the guy, Michael Davies, who made the call, and he said, you're going to be the host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And he goes, I got to get Regis a job. Oh, he calls me all the time. I said, all right, we'll get Regis a job. I come home, I say to my wife, I'm going to host a show called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? She goes, great. And I never heard back from Michael Davies. And the next thing I know, I see the show, and all of a sudden, Regis Philbin is on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? But I'm over it. I'm over it. Rest in peace, Reg. Yes, Steve.
I'll never forget sitting on the runway, coming back from a Notre Dame game, and the pilot of the plane says, "We'll be taking off here momentarily, just waiting for Regis to take off."
He had to be the first plane off the runway at Notre Dame.
Waiting for Regis Philbin to take off, and we'll be up next.
Yeah. Yes, Todd.
We were allowed to know the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire salary, unlike The Price is Right.
No, I didn't even ask about that. I never got caught up on salaries. Like, if you got a chance to do the job you wanted to do, I didn't negotiate my first ESPN contract. They just said, this is what we're going to pay you. And I go, great. Never negotiated because it was what I wanted to do. I didn't care. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Great. But Price is Right was like, hey, we're not going to tell you the salary. If you take the job, then we'll tell you the salary.
They made a game show out of the salary of a game show. Basically is what they did.
Yes, they did. Yes, McLovin.
No one watched that show anyway, Dan. Don't worry about
I know.
it.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yeah.
Or Price is Right.
Yeah, they're too popular. Nobody wanted to watch them.
Do we have an update on your house being egged, Fritzy? Anybody in custody?
There's no one in custody just yet. There are a few houses that we're still waiting to get some footage from their little doorbell video camera thing.
Okay.
A couple of them came back either too fuzzy or was too dark because it was like a
Will you press charges?
If it's like some 9-year-old kid that made one stupid
Do you
mistake,
want him to go to prison?
maybe just overnight, just to
Okay.
see what it's all about, and just to let them know that you really don't want to go down this path in life.
No. Then you don't want to egg my house.
You don't.
Somebody egged Todd's house.
I love that.
I think we are actually grossly underplaying that storyline.
Well, a minimum of 3 eggs hit the windows, and it's not easy to clean that. We had a window cleaner come. I'm not going to do it, and he was having trouble, collecting the eggshells, and some of the yolk got stuck in the screen. It's a little mess there. I'm not happy about it.
Of all the puns, bad puns, and then you get the yolk is on you.
The yolk is on me.
Yes.
Bang.
Yeah.
It all comes full circle.
Is there a this day in sports history that I care about, Paul?
1918 Brooklyn rookie pitcher Harvey Heitman made his major league pitching debut and his
Heitman.
last major league game in the same day. He got in the game. He pitched to 4 straight St. Louis Cardinals hitters. All 4 got base hits. He left the game and never played in the majors again.
Heitman.
Dang, that stinks.
Todd, what'd you learn on today's program?
I learned that Yankees pitcher James Paxton is Canadian and nicknamed the Big Maple.
Big Maple. Big Maple. McLovin?
Yeah, I learned there's also the talented oak and the weeping willow and the very strong
redwood
fir.
Fir. Douglas fir. Seton, what'd you learn today?
It's a great place for wings named Magic City. Yeah.
Paulie?
You could egg Todd's house and he still won't clean anything.
I will not.
What did I learn, Todd?
You would not let Lou Williams back in the bubble. Enjoy the
No.
wings, watch your team play on TV.
What we learned brought to you by Raycon, the wireless earbuds, the way to go. Get 15% off your Raycon order. Buyraycon.com/Patrick. That's buyraycon.com/Patrick. Thanks for visiting with us. Hope you'll do it again tomorrow. Seton Pauly, Fritzy McLovin, yours truly. This has been The Dan Patrick Show.